Hello and welcome to RPGs Uncovered. This is the first episode of our demo play mini-series for Iron, Coke, and Conscience, a Locus story. I am super excited to jump into this game. First off, apologies for missing last week. It was a mess of a week. I wasn't feeling well, decided to cancel for a number of reasons, really. But before then, the week prior to that, we did the Learning the Game section, Learning the Game tutorial stream. So if you haven't seen that and you want a more thorough explanation of how to play or run your own game of Locus when we're done here, go check that out. Or stay tuned for the upcoming bite-sized tutorials that I'm going to be dropping throughout this season. But for now, this is our demo play mini-series. This is a show to keep you entertained and engaged while we show you how the rules work. We're gonna stop every now and then when we get to a crucial point in the rules of figuring out how to do something to teach and demonstrate how you build dice pools, or where to look on your character sheet, or how to read the results, or for GMs, how to come up with, what happens when those results are read. And of course, we'll be talking after the game in our after shows about player and GM insights that you can get and enjoy and throw into your own gaming experience. So to that note, a few brief announcements. I am going to keep this brief because I do want to jump into the game. You can help support the channel primarily just by going out and telling people. I would love to see a whole bunch of people just flow in for even more of these demo play mini-series. Not for myself, but because I really do enjoy promoting and showcasing and teaching indie TTRPGs and helping to expand all of our TTRPG horizons. I think it's great that there are so many games constantly being produced and crowdfunded and released for all of us to get into all kinds of new games. So if anyone out there is looking for a new game, whether it's just to enjoy an actual play or to be a player in, or especially to run, invite them over here to RPGs Uncovered. We have obviously the Twitch here, we have YouTube, we have our Twitter, we have a Discord. All of those links should be down below. Of course, if you do want to support us monetarily, if you can support us monetarily, I know it's a difficult time for everyone, so don't go out of your way. But if you like what we do here on RPGs Uncovered, you can head over to Ko-Fi. I believe I can drop this right here, and that should give you all. Nope, I didn't clear that with Nightbot. Come on, Nightbot. Let's just go with our standard support. There we go. There's a link for our Ko-Fi channel. You can find all kinds of cool content on there for this and previous RPGs Uncovered seasons. All of the bite-sized tutorials are going to be free for everyone on YouTube, but they're going to be written forms and cheat sheets and guidelines there for you to check out. Also for free, I believe. Those are for free. For the actual paying subscriber over there, you get the insights from all of us on the after shows that we do. I include on the player side of things for our player side supporters things like character sheets and background bios, and when the cast has them and when the game supports it, things like what their character looks like, or even Spotify playlists or stuff like that. All kinds of fun little extras that you can associate with our game. And for the GM side of things, I constantly drop my GM notes, so when we're done with this episode, I will be uploading the notes I have for this game and continually doing that throughout the series. This one might be a little bit more redacted because it is a mystery game, and I do want to conceal that mystery throughout, but by the end of this series, you'll have all of my notes and all of my insights for the GM side of things that you support on our, I believe that's called the Hero tier. Go over there and check it out. This is already getting longer than I expected. We have a Discord. Hang out on Discord. We're all there. We like to talk to people about games. And finally, most importantly, I would say, we have the Mayhem meter up there. You can also scroll down below. There's a nice black and yellow Mayhem meter banner down there. The Mayhem meter is there, one, to cause extra crazy stuff happening during the show, so you can help support the People's Ascension, not the People's Ascension, I haven't used that name for a while, help support RPGs Uncovered, and most importantly, this amazing cast. And cause some mayhem, cause some increased tensions and whatnot. It's going to be good, it's going to be bad. This is a horror game, after all, horror mystery, so it might lean a little bit more towards the bad side, but that's where the excitement comes from. As far as the mayhem meter, anything we get through the mayhem meter is split evenly between the entire cast. That includes myself and these three lovely people over here. So anything we get through the mayhem meter is going to be split up, given them. That is the best way I can help pay my cast for their time and talent with this channel still trying to gather regular support. So if you can support monetarily, that is the way I suggest you do it first, so to help me give back to these wonderful people. But I think that is enough of me rambling on for now. Oh yeah, you can clip the show. If something cool happens, clip it. I can put out different collages of those, throw them out to YouTube shorts and whatnot. Anyway, let's go introduce our amazing cast here, and we'll get started with our first episode of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. Yeah, let me throw it over to these guys. Let's keep it kind of brief. We'll go into your whole calendar of events during our outro, but for now, introduce yourself, where they can find you, and who you're playing. A little bit about them. We'll introduce characters in just a little bit. Let's start with Kat. Hello, and thank you for joining.
Hi, my name is Kat. I am the host, king of the award-winning podcast Sword of Symphonies, and the choir master of Roar to Heaven. I am here, currently right now. You can find me on Twitter at @CatlinGun. You can find my games, because I'm a game writer. Mostly I write them at peachgardengames.com, and I would love it if you would buy them, because I have been very sick and not working and need money. Very bad. But we're going to worry about that later.
And they are awesome games at that.
Aww.
In fact, if you want a preview of what some of Kat's games look like, you can check out Season 2 of RPGs Uncovered, where we played Heroic Horde, but that is not all that she has to offer. So go check out that link for Peach Garden Games. Let's follow up with Lion. Hello and welcome.
Oh, hey. That's me. Hi. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, I'm Lion. I'm the creative director and founder for Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me over on Twitter at TheLionKnight42 and at TFTT Studios on Twitter and on every other social media as Tales from the Table Studios when I'm not choking to death. I'll talk more about stuff that we're doing later. Today I will be playing Chandler Chad Washboard Goldberg, who is a very health-focused individual, loves his bros and broettes, and is very excited for vacation.
All right. And a fun vacation this will be.
Yeah.
And last, but by far not least, JD, welcome back. Great having you on again. Who are you? Where are you? What are you playing?
I am so excited to be back here, Jack. I love Locus, and I cannot wait to get to play with this lovely group of people. You can find me on pretty much all socials, but I only really update Twitter, to be honest, at JD, not Jason Dean. I'm a regular cast member and storyteller with Live from the Apocalypse, with a packed calendar. This is my 4th stream in 48 hours, so we're going to see how this goes. Because today I am going to be playing Roman Hargreaves, the 21-year-old scion of the Hargreaves family. He is a business major. He is part of a very influential family, and he cannot wait to take his friends on just a wonderful vacation, because we all need a break.
Yes. All right. Let's see. With that, just playing with my OBS gremlins right now. All right. Let's jump in to our first episode of Iron, Coke, and Conscience. Yes.
I have a question because I couldn't find it in the manual, and I needed to do it. Do we start with willpower?
Yes, that is exactly where we will be starting off.
Okay.
That is the first thing we will be doing. So, thank you for preempting that, Kat. We will be using, over on our side, I have a virtual card table that we can all play with. So let me throw you guys some cards. Now, for context, because this is a demo play mini-series, Locus uses playing cards to basically represent where everyone's headspace is. The more cards you have in your hand, the more the weight of the world, the weight of your own problems are weighing down on you, and that weight will push you further and further down in the distorted reality that is the Malice Locus, the bad place, the poisoned and corrupted spirit of the land, and all of the craziness that ensues in that kind of overlapping alternate reality. There's also various ways that different card suits will interact, such as gaining willpower whenever you draw a card that matches your virtue. So, I believe we all start off the game with a single card in hand. So I'm going to throw each of you a card on this table. JD, you have a 6 of clubs.
That is thankfully a neutral suit for me.
All
well,
right.
Not thankfully, because it could have been willpower.
No willpower, but it will be a relatively easy card to get rid of. And we'll go into getting rid of cards as that happens. Lion, you have a King of Spades.
That is also a neutral
Also
card.
a neutral card. And
The big one, though.
at 2 of Spades.
That's a virtue
Which
card.
is a virtue card. So you get to discard that, it's already gone, and you add 3 willpower.
Go away. Okay, we're gonna have 3 willpower.
Alright. So that's a good starting point.
The girl is diligent.
Now let me just check, because... where am I? I am here. There we go. Alright, we actually start with 2 cards. Draw 2 cards from the deck. That makes it a little more likely that you're gonna get a little willpower to start out with. So we're gonna throw 1 more at each of you. Alright, JD, that is a Jack of Spades. I don't believe that is...
Nope,
Oh.
that is still neutral.
Cat, your card disappeared. What happened to it?
Oh, I moved it down to me. I got confused. I'm good.
Okay. Another 5 of Spades for Lion. That is another neutral card. And for Cat, a 7 of Diamonds, a neutral card. So it looks
Yes.
like Cat is the only one starting off with any willpower.
That tracks, honestly.
Alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
So,
I'm gonna use it.
with that, now that means with willpower, you're going to be able to spend willpower in order to re-roll dice during your checks. So if you fail a check, you can spend 1 willpower to re-roll a certain number of dice, depending on your stress, and we will go into that a little bit more when it happens. But I believe this is all we need to start our first game of Locus. So, Iron, Coke, and Conscience. A Locus story. We open on a early summer day as the camera winds down this winding valley road of the Appalachians. Winding through the valleys, winding through the trees. We have a little river off to one side, down a little bit of a slope. We have all kinds of trees off to the other side, various pines, not coniferous, those are pines. Deciduous? It's been a long time since I had tree biology.
got it.
Yes, of various shades of greens and light yellows of leaves, just blooming, coming to life, and thriving in the late spring, early summer that it is. And we follow this winding, relatively to our modern day sensibilities in 2023, relatively small winding road, because this is back in the 90s. Or is it? The camera follows this winding road until we see a turnoff that goes a little bit up and into this forested mountainous region of the Appalachians. And as the camera begins to rise, as the road and the camera begins to rise above the tree line, we see a quaint little town here, probably not more than 5,000 people there, if that. And behind that, as we see the tops of row houses, peeking over them, we start to see the gigantic metal, well, some would call it a monstrosity, some would call it a haven of work and opportunity. We see the Joelston Steel Works mill. We see the blast furnace towering over this entire complex. We see the roofs of 3-4-story tall warehouses. We hear trains in the distance. We see gray and black smoke filling the air in the distance. And then there is an explosion. There is a fire. The blast furnace erupts in flames, begins falling towards one of the warehouses. And before it makes contact with the roof of that warehouse, the picture freezes and slowly desaturates to black and white as the camera zooms out and we see a picture in the New York Times. Dozens killed in Joelston Steelworks catastrophe, while the steel industry continues to sink to foreign competition. The date is 1974. And then the camera pulls back or pushes forward down in that picture once more. The color saturates back, except now the blast furnace has fallen. There is no more smoke billowing up on the horizon. The houses there just look older. The tree line is different. There's a slight haze, a slight fog, though it surely can't be smoke anymore. But we'll leave Joelston there for a little bit as the camera quickly zooms backward along the path that it took previously until we find I believe it was a dark green Porsche.
Yes, a dark green Porsche.
A very new car, and I am not a car person. But let's see. I believe there's a 97 911.
911 Turbo, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was
The nice one, yeah.
Yeah. So Roman here has a dark green, brand new 1997 Porsche 911. This is an expensive car even in its time, and if it happens to survive this, will be an incredibly expensive car in our time. But that's a ways off, because now at the bottom of the screen we see that it is 1997. And we zoom in on this little sports car, this little expensive sports car, and peer in through the windows to see our three lovely people here enjoying a road trip towards Roman's parents' ski lodge up in the Appalachians. Now it is, of course, the middle of summer. The Appalachians aren't terribly tall. There's probably going to be some level of skiing available. But at the very least, it is a nice getaway. It should be relatively cooler than it is, down in lower altitudes. And it's just a nice way for this group of three friends to go out, have fun, relax, party it up like the college students they are, and really have a nice summer break trip. And we'll see what that is like once they get there. If they get there. But for now, they are none the wiser of what is about to befall them. So let's zoom into this window and see what fun we are having during this road trip. Let's start with Roman, actually, since you are in the driver's seat. as we zoom in through the windshield. JD, how about you describe Roman to us and what they are doing aside from driving this car?
Roman is tall and slender. He is the type of person who, even now on a vacation, is wearing a button-down shirt because you should always dress to impress and you should always look your best. Normally at school, he even adds on a tie, a vest, sometimes a suit jacket because, again, you never know who you might encounter and you would not want them to get the wrong impression of you. He keeps his face cleanly shaved, his hair neatly trimmed and slicked back at all times, and he has vibrant green eyes and sharp features and a smile that just puts you at ease. You just enjoy being in his presence. And at this moment, he is enjoying the drive. It's been a while since he's just been able to get behind the wheel and let the car go. He's probably going 15 to 20 miles over the speed limit, but that's okay because this is a good car and it's built to handle these turns. So he's really focused on that and idly listening to whatever conversation may be going on between the other occupants of the car, whether it is directed at him or between the two of them.
All right. And yes, these are some small country winding roads, but if there was a car built for this, it is the Porsche 911. So, who's riding shotgun here up next to Roman?
I feel like
Chandler.
Our
Yes.
bro Chad. All right. Lion, introduce Chad to us, and what are you doing?
so. Chad is also relatively tall. I think Chad probably has an inch or two on Roman. Is not particularly wide, but is clearly very fit. Cut, and it's no more apparent or obvious because of the couple of abs that poke out from the open midriff of his cut-off white tee. That is definitely one size too small on purpose. I feel like he's definitely got the window down, and his sort of messy, almost curls are just sort of like moving back and forth in the wind, just like somebody set a little bit of old spaghetti on his head and left it. He's got these incredibly dull brown eyes. Not that they don't evoke any feeling or passion or life behind them, but they are inherently just very generic and standard and non-interesting. I do think that on top of sort of tucking his knees to his chest a little bit so he can get his feet almost up on the dashboard, because it's still a relatively small front in the car and probably not going to work out for him. He clearly has very toned legs that are completely hairless, probably waxed, but who knows. And is wearing these very short, like athletic shorts that barely cover any thigh. And right now, I think what he's doing is very loudly, very off-key, singing the lyrics to Semi-Charmed Kind of Life, which, unless somebody actively stopped him from jamming his cassette into the cassette player in the car, is what is playing on the car right now. Yeah, that's Chad.
Excellent. Yes,
and
it
Roman,
is.
as always, is saying, Chandler, feet off the dashboard. How many times do I have to say that?
Bro, it's a small car, man. What do you want me to do? Fuck.
Put your feet on the floor. That is what I want you to do. I know
All
you're
right.
capable of it.
All right. Feet are on the floor. We're good, bro. I got you. I'm not gonna fuck your car up. Come on.
I know you've got me. I know you've got me, Chandler.
I always got you, bro. I always got you.
All right. And before we get to the back seat, I see we have a hydrate check, courtesy of Ajax there. Thank you.
Hydrate.
Yeah, that is a good reminder. We have all kinds of cool channel point buys. You can remind us to hydrate. This is still all set up for Cyber Rat stuff. Actually, oops. But I will find some cool things for you to do with Locus here. Yeah, I don't think action dice are going to work for this particular game. So I'm going to change that to something. I have ideas.
Well, maybe
But
they can give us willpower.
I was thinking a card draw. Yeah, I was thinking a card
I
draw,
like
or maybe
that.
one willpower. We'll see. We'll talk. But there is the character monologue button that you can press and tell
Please.
one of our lovely trash people here to monologue some. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if the airdrop is really going to help here, but having a tactical blimp come out of nowhere and drop something for them would surely be hilarious. I
It's just a
will.
fucking crowbar.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I
Are you
will
kidding me?
also remind
Army.
everyone with the mayhem meter, which I already talked about. It's every $50 increments the mayhem meter will take over and something cool will happen. So if you want to support the channel, if you want to help me get back to these guys, tip in whatever increment you have. But whenever it hits that $50 mark, something awesome is going to happen.
Torture us. Do it.
Yes. And I also. I'm going to save that for a bit. Somebody remind me I have something to say because I don't want to cut the scene in the middle. Cat, you in the back seat with the bros up front. Please describe your character, Laura, and what she's doing back there.
Laura is leaning against the door, looking out the window, kind of like mostly spacing out. I think she briefly kind of rouses herself, listens to what they're talking about in the front, rolls her eyes, goes into her purse, fishes out a tiny notebook, a very tiny notebook with a sparkly pink cover, and just makes like one tally mark. There are 12.
Please, light.
Tucks it back into her purse. Just we're gonna see how many times this conversation unfolds before we get here. And that's kind of how Laura is entertaining herself on the ride. She doesn't hate top 40. Like, it's not her particular taste, but Chad was excited about it. She's not gonna quibble. When he gets excited about something, he's just gonna do it. So she's kind of humming along to Semi-Charmed Life a little bit, and just other than that, just absolutely, she is mentally 500 yards out the window.
All right. Out of curiosity, 500 yards in which direction? Out to the side, up towards the trees, down to the river, up ahead, looking back.
She's sitting in the back seat, so I think it's to the side. It's to the side, slightly up, so like at the trees.
All right, looking up into the mountains. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've all described our characters, I will take a moment to give our content warning, which I should have done earlier. This is a personal, psychological mystery horror game. There are going to be elements that may be problematic to some people. Your comfort and enjoyment is topmost in my mind, as well as my players. We had an extensive session 0. We've gone over all of our safety tools when we had that and just prior to starting this episode, so we know where we need to be. But quick content warning for you all, and if at any point you are uncomfortable, please feel free to step away, come back in a little bit, or if you have to, just completely skip this season. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. If this show isn't for you, if this game isn't for you, I invite you to check out our Whip Workshop on Wednesdays and come back for future seasons. But I want you guys to have as much fun as we do. So, quick content warning going forward, because this is a horror game. We have all consented to a certain level of discomfort that comes with the nature. So there may be aspects of body horror that may come up. I'm not a particularly gruesome person, but there may be aspects of body horror that come up. There may be evidence of self-harm in various ways. There may be minor homophobic or compensating for being repressed sort of mentality. because it is a mystery game, I'm sure there will be plenty of gaslighting between all of them and NPCs in the environment. I believe that just about covers everything I need to cover, but once again, I invite you all to just be honest with yourself, and if you need to step away, then please do step away. But we will be using X cards and OK check-in and all of that to make sure that we are good. But with that said, let's get back into the game. We follow our 97 Porsche 911 as it is flying down this winding Appalachian Trail. Relatively flat-ish, but every now and then you go over one of those small bumps where the downhill sends your stomach up into your chest, especially at these speeds and at these sharp turns. And you guys are having a blast. Or at least the bros up front are having a blast. Roman's driving fast, Chad's rocking out, and Laura in the back is probably just finding whatever amusement she can with the brofest up front and looking out up amongst the horizons of the trees.
The boys are like zoo animals. You can have a pretty good time if you observe them from a safe distance.
Yeah.
That is so valid.
Yeah.
Like gorillas.
Yeah. I forgot to describe Laura, I realized. Because
Yes,
she's
please
like
do.
she's the only person in this car who isn't tall. She's like little on the short side, low 5 feet. She's got short, like chin length blonde hair in like layers. It's the 90s. She has like I kind of want to give her eyes like mine, which is like colorless gray eyes. Like, I wouldn't describe them as particularly striking, but then you look at them and you're like, oh, that's just like no colors, huh? Neat. Like, she's very slender. She's quite small. She is a dancer. She's so she typically tends to wear, like, even when she's in her day-to-day life, she tends to wear like slightly athletic clothes. And especially since athletic wear was all the rage in the 90s, it's very much, we've got like the tearaways and like a tank. Like, she is ready for gym at all times.
All right, excellent. Yes, this is the 90s. Big hair and short shorts.
Yeah.
Lots of color.
Oh yeah, hot pink.
All right, so we follow this car blazing up this winding Appalachian Trail. We can hear the music from our helicopter's distance away, and we follow the tree line forward, and this trail is looking quite familiar to the audience, if not to everybody in the car, because it's the same path that we took just earlier. And just as we realized we were coming to that turnoff, we zoomed back into the car, and there is this disturbing, frightening, screeching, clunking, ramming noise coming from, I believe the 911 had the engine in the back, right? I think so. Coming from the rear boot of the car. I know some things about cars. I watch Top Gear. You hear this terrible grinding, screeching coming from the back. And fortunately, as fortunate as you can be, the terrifying thick black smoke erupts from the back boot and not just in front of your windshield. As Roman, you have to deal with a car that is actively breaking down, a brand new car, a car that you just got. It is a 1997 911, which means you just got this car. I'm sure you take pretty good care of it. But you hear this noise and black smoke erupts from the back. First of all, before we get into anything, this sounds like a distressing moment for you, Roman, right?
I think that's
I'd say so. So, we're gonna draw a card for Roman here, because anytime there is a stressful occurrence on top of other things, they're gonna have to draw a card. I'm gonna throw one more of these cards over to JD. That is a King of Clubs. Still no willpower for you.
But also not a haunt.
Not
so,
a haunt.
Know, we're winning.
Yep. Let's see. Yes, in fact, when faced with a stressful situation, you will roll a stress check. In fact. And at that point, you will get this card. So if that doesn't happen, I'll just discard that. Alright, so I need you to roll a stress test. Now that is going to be your normal 3 dice. Every roll in this game, every single one of them, believe, is 3d6. So grab 3d6, you're going to roll those, and a typical stress test is a medium difficulty check. Yes, which means you will be taking the middle value. So when you roll your 3d6, this is for the audience, when you roll your 3d6, there is the lowest value result, the middle value result, and the highest value result. And depending on the difficulty of the check, you will use whichever result that is. So medium difficulty, middle number in that sequence. So JD, go ahead and roll me your stress test. And
that is a 3, a 4, and a 6.
Alright, so that will be a 4 on your result. Now, let's take a look at these attributes and figure out what we're comparing them to. We're comparing this result to. Now, JD, feel free to suggest something. But I think
I was going to say a temper check.
A temper check. I was going to go between cowardice and temper. So go ahead and, so we're going to call that a temper check. Now, in Locus, you have to roll above the number of dots you have in your attributes. Now, your attributes are counted as negative qualities instead of the normal neutral or positive qualities. So your attributes are things like frailty or cowardice or temper, as we are doing here. And you distribute a number of points in character creation, and it's always taxing to have to figure out where to put those last few points, because as you make your character, you're constantly making them worse and worse instead of better and better. So when you roll these dice, you compare them to an attribute. For this instance, it is temper. And Roman has 3 dots in temper. So he needed to roll a 4 or higher. Meets it, does not beats it in this game. You did succeed on your stress test, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this King of Clubs and call that my oopsies. Alright, so, you do not actually get any more, hold on, I think I am mixing rules, because that is stress. You do not go up in stress. My apologies, I'm a little scatterbrained today, but the show must go on. As far as cards, I do believe
So if this is a stress test, then you don't get a card inherently, the stress level goes up?
Yeah.
If it's an outcome check, then on a failed check he gets a card, I believe.
Yeah. You must draw a card when experiencing a jarring situation or acting in accordance with your vice. So this is a jarring situation. Okay. So you do not get any more stressed, but you do indeed still keep this king. All right. That is 3 cards in JD's hand.
It's fine.
For Roman. Yeah, this is my first time playing the game. This is an exact demo of being a first-time GM in any game. You're gonna have to figure it out. All right, so the back of the card just erupted. It is making this terrible noise. There is thick black smoke pouring out from the back. I am calling this a jarring situation for Roman here, but I will throw it to you other two in the car. Do you think this is a particularly distressing event for you guys?
I think Chad probably finds it funny more than anything else.
No, I'm looking at my stats, and I'm seeing that Laura has a very high impatience.
Mm.
So I genuinely think this pisses her off.
Okay. If we're going the impatience route, I'm gonna hold that for just a second. So, Roman, Your car is actively breaking down. It has not stopped. It is sputtering a bit. It is slowing down, surely. You're not going 15 over at this point, nor do I think you would want to. But you have seen a sign. It looks like a very old sign, a dirty sign, a sign that has not been very well kept up, very small on the side of the road. Quarter mile Joelston. Other than that, there is very narrow margins on the side of the road. Not a lot of space for you to get to. You have not seen hardly anybody on this drive your entire way through, especially in this section. And you know it is quite the distance, dozens of miles, to the next habited area. How do you react and what do you do?
Roman's first reaction is just to ensure that he is taking control of the car and maintaining safety. So even before the car itself starts to slow down, he would be slowing down, just being mindful to be more carefully guiding it. And while his jaw is perhaps clenched and twitching just a bit, he focuses more on reassuring the others and says, there's a town up ahead, we'll pull off there, see what's going on, get this sorted out. It'll be fine.
Bro, they fucked you, dude.
Yes, I'm not particularly thrilled with this, Chandler.
No, I can't imagine.
The workmanship of these cars is going downhill.
It's all that foreign bullshit, bro. We can push it, though.
Let's leave that as our last resort, Chandler.
I mean, we gotta get there somehow, right, dude?
I am hoping we can find a mechanic who can get this figured out, and then we can drive the rest of the way, because I personally am not built for pushing this car.
Nah, it's alright. That's why you got me, man.
And all of this is happening as the noise out the back continues to get louder and worse. You pull off into a very small road. It's not quite a one-lane road, but I wouldn't even call it a two-lane road. Not safely, not for modern day cars in the 90s. Even though the 911 is pretty small, you could probably get to the side if somebody else were to come through. But this road is heavily grown over by trees. The trees have pretty much enveloped the entire road to the point where very little sunlight is coming through. You actually want to turn your headlights on, even though it is the middle of the day. It is dark here underneath the tree cover down this road. The road is old looking and potted. The yellow stripes down the middle are heavily faded. The sides of the road are all chipped and falling off. There are deep ditches past, in the median, so there's not really a place to turn off safely. And it's just dirty and dark and not great looking out here. And you are moving upward further into the mountains, though not terribly steeply. The car is holding out for a bit. You continue having this conversation. You get to about this point, and you hear a out the back of the car as Roman, you look up immediately to your rearview mirror, and you see this tiny, white hot piece of metal skipping down the road, falling off into the brush behind, and you start seeing a little bit of gray smoke wisping up near the trees back there. And your car just coasts. The engine is shut. You blew a rod straight out the back of your car. You're traveling uphill, so it does not take long for gravity simply to slow the car to a crawling, sputtering, smoke-filled halt. And at this point, I'm going to give a card to Kat, because this is where your impatience will kick in. Because this
Absolutely.
cart is not going anywhere.
I do not want
Especially
it.
not without somebody pushing it. And there's only 3 of you. So that is an ace of diamonds. That is another neutral card for you. All right.
Then
Fortunately, it said that Joelston was only about a quarter mile away. There's not far that you have to get, or at least you assume. You can't see much through the thick darkness of the tree layer around here. But you're stuck on this road.
I get out and start pushing. Come on.
Laura's the first one out.
I think Chad getting out and seeing Laura start trying to push the car is gonna laugh a little bit. Be like, oh, you got it?
Are you gonna waste my time or are you gonna come help?
I mean, we got time to kill now, right? And then he's gonna like post up and start pushing.
Laura,
Yeah.
we
Alright.
could wait until we can get a tow truck. We do not need to do this.
You think that shithole's got a tow truck, bro? Come on.
I think you're making a lot of assumptions about a place we have not even seen yet. Those old towns always have at least one mechanic. Somebody has to do the work here.
Yeah, they're gonna have some old guy in a trucker hat with a weird, dirty beard going, oh, you're coming from the road. It's fucked up shit on the road.
I would prefer that to getting my hands dirty.
Well, good thing someone needs to stay in and steer.
See, we got you, bro.
All right, the 2 of you can be my guest.
Aren't we
Yeah,
already
we'll
your
stay in the
guests?
car.
No, we're already. He's gonna look down at Laura, and we're already his guests, right? Like
No,
that was the
already
whole
his
plan.
guests. Yeah,
Okay,
his
yeah, I
guests.
thought so. Yeah.
All right. So, as the 2 of you get out of the car, you realize, despite the air conditioning inside the car, it is quite hot out. And you pretty much immediately start feeling that dampness in the air. It is hot, it is humid, you are quickly going to start to sweat. Though I don't think that is anything odd for either of you two, really. Laura, you head out back and begin trying to push this car uphill. I'm not going to make this a check because I don't think it is really going to matter terribly for the narrative, and failing a check is detrimental in this game. But you post up at the back and you start pushing. You start trying to push this car uphill.
I can't help but feel like Chandler probably is taking the brunt of this.
I would imagine. Now, the interesting thing with the attribute system in Locus is that there really isn't a full, strength stat. So, Laura actually has a higher, Laura has a high frailty, which is probably
Yes.
the closest thing that we're going to get to a combination of strength and maybe a little bit of dexterity and constitution, all that. It's your physical
Yeah.
bulk that you have. A higher score is bad. You are more frail. So, so Laura, you post up at the back of this car trying to push it uphill, and it does not budge.
No.
Until Chad comes out back, has this quick, snarky conversation, cracks his knuckles, squats down in his little short shorts, and heaves and starts pushing this car slowly up the hill. Chad here has a frailty of 1, much bulkier.
True.
And the 2 of you immediately break out into a sweat in this hot, humid summer air. And you do have to constantly wave this smoke out of your face. Now, since the engine has blown out the back of the car, or at least a piece of it, I imagine, Roman, you have turned it down into coasting. The engine is off, not even attempting to spin anymore. You're simply keeping it, in neutral so you can steer and have the wheels keep moving. But you still need to brush the smoke out of the way. It will eventually clear as you move forward. But you quickly become winded. Not enough to prevent you from moving forward, but you have smoke in your face. And then you realize the smoke has cleared, and you're not breathing any better. You still smell smoke. You still smell the twinge of metal. You still smell the sweetness of gasoline and oil. But there's also this, not quite sulfurous, but this acidic, metallic twinge, extra metallic twinge in the air. But you're not sure where it's coming from. There's no smoke anymore, but the air is thick, it is humid, and it does not smell great. But you heave this car probably a quarter mile or so up this hill. It's not a terribly steep hill, but uphill. And we slowly follow the car to the skyline that we saw before, if we can even call it a skyline. A number of row houses greet our vision. Behind that, smaller homes, one main thoroughfare, if you even want to call it that, the main street, the one actually fully two-lane road there with proper sides, maybe parking on either side next to some shops that are there, little turn-off side streets here or there that lead deeper into neighborhoods. Or at least that's what it looked like 20-odd years ago. Now, those row houses are dirty and ill-kept. We see many of them have boarded up windows, a little bit of graffiti on some of them. The lawns are overgrown. There are husks of cars out front, some of them. Not necessarily burned. This is not a post-apocalyptic game, but we see tires missing. We see windows smashed. We see, as the camera sort of surveys the area, some of the cars actually have plants growing inside out of the upholstery and whatnot. And the town is quiet. You can even call it a town, really. We don't see anybody on the road, at least not from the view that we are taking. But the camera pans up once more, and we see beyond that skyline, we see the blast furnace that has tipped down at past a 45-degree angle, and the top of it has crumbled apart. As we see a hole smashed out of one of the warehouses, we see a few other warehouses just beyond some of the roofs of the buildings nearby. And we follow this green, broken down, super expensive brand new Porsche as it pulls up down into that main thoroughfare of Joelston. And I believe I set this in West Virginia, Joelston, West Virginia. The ground... Oh, sorry, Kat.
Oh, no, that was, I think just like, Laura, upon seeing this place, she's like, well, good.
I failed my hydration check.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Clark.
Pushing this car, the steepness flattens out as you get into Joelston, and you begin pushing it down this main street, as it were. You don't get too terribly far down it, though you aren't inspired by the facade that you see, and the lack of population here. Though you do get to one building. It is one of the few old homes built on this main street, just next to shops. You see there's the old-timey red and white swirl of a barber shop. We see various little stores, cafes, a record store, all of which the signs have become weathered, windows have been boarded up. Doesn't look like they're particularly operational at the moment. But sitting in front of this house, sort of at the beginning of this main street, on the porch, there are two very old, very dirty, at one time white rocking chairs, and sitting on top of it is this old man. Not ancient by any means, but old and not terribly healthy looking. He is rocking back and forth on this once white rocking chair. Next to him is a large ceramic jug sitting on the ground of the porch. There is he's smoking a pipe, like a corn cob pipe. It's not even a fancy pipe that one of our characters might have. It's not cigarettes or cigars. It is a homemade corn cob pipe that he is puffing away at. And as your car pierces through the tree line over the curve of the hill, as soon as it comes into view, this old man locks eyes with you and your car, continuing to rock back and forth, and just slowly follows you up the road.
I mean, Roman offers him a friendly smile.
All right. So, from the much more comfortable position of the driver's seat of this car that your two friends are pushing, you look out the passenger side window and can, duck your head, give him a smile, maybe give him a wave. His demeanor does not change. His eyes are locked, at this point, straight on you, since you are looking at him directly. Eyes locked straight on you. He has this very tanned, leathery, wrinkled face. He looks... He's old, he's sweating, he's dirty, there's... just... It almost looks like soot, though you don't know why it would. But he certainly does not look welcoming. He's not scowling, it could just be resting old man face, but he does not return that warm smile. He just continues, as far as your companions are pushing, will continue to stare straight at you.
I think, as breaking through this sort of tense silence, Roman would hear from outside of the car, just Chad going, Hey, excuse me, and like waving over at the guy.
His body doesn't move at all, but his eyes quickly shift over in your direction. His head doesn't even turn, his eyes just shift over in your direction, still with that heavily wrinkled furrow to his face. Again, it could be the light, it could just be he's old, or he's just a naturally angry old bastard.
Chad's gonna look down at Laura and be like, that is one creepy ass old motherfucker. Hey bro, you guys got like a mechanic or something around here?
Are you gonna push the car up to that place and stop and actually try to engage with this person, or are you just shouting as you continue pushing?
I'm just like shouting towards him as we keep going.
Okay.
Depending on his reaction, maybe I'll stop, but for now,
you say that, he rocks a few more times, takes a big drag off of his pipe, holds it for a bit, continuing to lock eyes with you, slowly blows out the smoke, leans down with his thumb and loops it in to the ring of the jug, pulls it up and sets it down with a thud and a little splash. Don't get many visitors around here. Oh, it looks like you're gonna be stuck a while. There's his face, again, does not change much. Let's see here. Yeah, Chad has a relatively low repulsion stat, which is the closest thing we're going to get to charisma. So I think with that, you can make out that even though his face does not change much, there is this strange sheen of both... It's almost like a begrudging amusement. Or like a bittersweet amusement to your situation.
You didn't even answer my question, right? Like, what the fuck was that?
don't work around here, kids. I really should have practiced a better Appalachian accent because that is not it.
Like nothing? Like nothing works? Like, oh, fuck. Like nothing works?
Not much.
Fuck, what the fuck do we do now, though?
Looks
Well,
like we
Chandler-
got some new residents of Joelston, West Virginia.
I'm sure it's fine, Chandler, but maybe we stop pushing the car.
Takes another long drag on his pipe.
And then what? We fucking vacation in Joelston, West Virginia?
That's not what I said, Chandler.
Also, he can probably hear you, dear.
No, I'm not talking that loud. It's fine.
Okay.
Look at him. He's like 100 fucking years old. That dude can't hear shit.
Well, where would new residents go to find somewhere to sit down?
At this point, you stop pushing the car and at least, get on the sidewalk in front of the house.
do. It doesn't. If Chad continues, it's not going to make a big difference.
Roman, with the car coming to a stop, do you put on the brakes? Do you come out?
Yes.
All right.
100%. I don't trust Chad to engage in conversation.
Nor should you.
All right.
Neither do I. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, you step out of the car, and as the three of you, one by one, move away from the car, this old man locks eyes on you and follows you to just on the sidewalk in front of his house. He doesn't have a big porch or a big front yard. There's a few yards of this nasty, patchy, overgrown, but also somehow dying, grayish, brownish grass and shrub overgrowth in front of a wooden porch that was once painted white, covered in soot and grime. Planks of wood have rotted and fallen away from places. It looks like if this old man were to rock any harder, that side of the porch might just collapse. And of course, that is sitting in front of an old brick two-story house that probably has not seen any level of wash or care in years and years. And you all step out and make your way towards this elderly gentleman. And as Roman, you approach, I would imagine, because Roman is likely going to follow in his father's footsteps at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Your father has is the head of a large company of some sort.
Of course.
I don't believe we
yes.
talked specifics about it, but he is the head of a large and increasingly diversifying company. And I imagine that just stitched in to your shirt is the logo of his company.
I would imagine that is true.
Okay.
Yes.
Or maybe you have a bumper sticker or it's on a backpack. But I imagine you have a logo of your father's company somewhere.
Oh, certainly on my shirt.
All right.
It's likely monogrammed along with my initials on the other,
Okay.
breast side.
I'm going to shine this spotlight on you a little further. Can you describe that logo for me?
Interesting. I see it as the logo of a tree. And there are vines wrapped around it. And it would hold the emblem. I'm gonna have to think of it on the exact wording of the name. But
Sure.
it definitely is not the family's name.
Right. No,
it
it's
is
not.
separate from that.
It is. All right. And as you approach, you see this old man's eyes just slightly move from your own down to the logo, on your shirt, and that furrow in his brow intensifies. He sort of raises his chin a bit. It's not necessarily, I think Roman and Chad would be able to pick this out. Though, actually, none of you have particularly high repulsion stats, so you can probably all read this guy relatively well enough. He's not trying to hide anything. He is an old bastard. There is that level of amusement, but also annoyance and recognition that comes over his face. That sort of questioning, what are they doing back here? Look.
Roman approaches... Sorry about that. My computer just suddenly freaked out a bit, but I think we're okay.
Oh no.
Uh-oh, haunted.
Stand by. Stream gremlins. But like I said, shit don't work in Joelston. I
Don't.
got to take that into account when I set this game here.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
problem.
we might all break down at some point.
But in the meantime, this
Yes.
does seem like a really good opportunity to talk about the amazing mayhem meter and how you can make our fantastic characters suffer in horrible, terrible ways with a low donation.
All right.
Yeah.
That was something my computer has never done before.
Huh.
Don't know.
Hey, we love it.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
We need to find a way to verbally add the little trademark logo to that statement.
Yes, no, we do.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
Roman does not address any of the obvious signals that are being sent to him by this man, and instead just walks up and says, I apologize for the fact that we're taking up your time today, sir. If there is any guidance you can give us on somewhere we could stay, it would be much appreciated.
Takes a shorter drag on his pipe and puffs it in your direction. Yeah, you folk always do have pretty mouths.
I will take that as a compliment.
This is
There's
a compliment, bro. Fuck yeah.
You're looking for a place to stay. I think that's one thing we have in abundance. Pick a place. Most of them haven't seen shit in them for years. Be nice to
Well,
get
that
some
is-
young blood in here again.
When was the last time anyone came through?
Leans back on his rocking chair and drifts a bit. Looks out over towards the steelworks. Pauses for long enough that you think this incredibly old man. I say incredibly old. He looks older than he is, but he's probably in his mid to late 70s. He's not ancient by any means. You're just getting to the point where you're getting ready to remind him of the question in case he forgot when he drifts back in your direction. I'd say it's been probably 6 or 7 years since you came to check up on things. Oh, you don't seem like the normal pencil pushers.
You been here before, bro?
I've never been here, Chandler.
Fuck is he talking about then? And Chandler's talking in not a whisper, but that really bad, slightly lower than normal voice.
What sort of pencil pushers do you usually have? I must confess we were not intending to stop here, as you can see, and he gestures towards the car.
Huh. Yeah, that's a fancier ride than they usually have. Sorry, remind me your question. I'm as old as this guy right now.
That is totally fine. Roman was asking, who are the usual pencil
Yes,
pushers?
who are the usual pencil pushers? Yes. Yeah, he again looks over towards the steelworks. Every now and then, some folks from your company come by to poke around. Think they're looking for something. Whole situation was... well, it was fucked. They come by, kick some dirt around for a bit, wander off to the steelworks, and leave us be, as we always are. Once they walk past this porch, though, can't say I ever see them again. Surprised you don't know, but apparently you didn't intend on being here. Which is unusual. We don't get a lot of tourism.
We
You know,
could call
shit.
this accidental tourism.
Accidental immigration, more like it. Reaches down with it to the jug and takes another big swig.
Man, fuck that.
Chandler, please.
Well, I'm just saying he's trying to make us live here? Like, the fuck is that?
I'm not making you do shit, son.
Goddamn fucking right you're not, bro.
Chandler.
Oh my fucking god.
There's this old creaky smile that crosses his face, like he is continually amused by Chad here.
I must apologize for my friend. Sometimes he speaks without thinking.
He gives a shrug.
I must confess I do not know anything about this town. What is it that happened at the steel mill?
Again, his eyes drift back over. We're not entirely sure. Blast furnace came down. There was a fire. Peak of production. Lots of good men died. And you know what we got for it? He stares daggers down at this little logo on your shoulder. We got this shithole. Every now and then, some of your type come by to, I don't know, they don't bother dealing with us old bastards. They wander up there, poke around. Don't know what happens to them particularly, don't really give a shit. But I don't see them again. They're always asking questions. Have we been there? Has anything changed? Have we found anything? We don't go there. We don't want to go there. There's nothing but dead bones and spirit smoke. Burnt out husks of lives. So I sit here wasting away on this damn porch because shit don't work here in Joelston. Nobody ever leaves.
How many of you still live in town?
I don't know, I don't keep track of that shit. Less and less every year. See how long me and Ethel make it. You might want to talk to Sheriff. He's what counts as any sort of figurehead we got here in this shithole. He know best. Think him and his little rascals are the only few children we have. Doubt there'll be anybody here in the next 30 years.
And where would the sheriff be found, if you don't mind?
He's kicking around somewhere around here, doing whatever he sticks his nose into.
Ah, thank you.
You know, harassing people, trying to get them all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and building shit, farming, trying to assign duties. Like anything we do here is going to prevent us from wasting away.
Well then, gentlemen, shall we?
Fuck.
I think we shall.
As you begin walking away, he shouts out, "You know, I used to be parcel to number 43 down the road."
Thank you for the advice.
Yo, thanks so much, man.
Yes.
And Chad like kicks a
Fuck
rock.
off.
Is like, oh. And then before they are out of earshot, Chad's gonna look over at Roman and go, "And that guy was an asshole."
Chandler.
What? I'm just saying.
Try to say kinder things.
Oh, all right, hold up. I got this. All right. That guy had a terrible attitude and should go get respectfully fucked. Better? See, I got this, bro. And he like gives Roman a like heavy pat on the back.
Yes,
Well done.
Chandler. Precisely.
Maybe it was just one off encounter. We are going to find a sheriff. Everything is going to be fine. So,
As long as we get the fuck out of here.
Which we will, of course we will, Chandler. Whatever he was saying about people arriving and not sure what happens to them afterwards, it was what you were saying earlier. It's like the start of every horror movie where that person at the gas station has to make the dire pronouncements.
I fucking told you, bro. I fucking said it.
But we're
Fucking
not in a
said
horror
it.
movie. So as
he
Laura
reminded
said,
me of
it's
my
fine.
grandfather.
Damn, your grandfather sucks.
He does. He's always saying that about the home. No one ever leaves. There's fewer and fewer people. Nothing works. Be less of an asshole and we'll put you in a more expensive home. Sorry.
Old people, they're just ungrateful. That's what it is.
That's very true, Chandler. That's very true.
Fuck, and I think Chandler is gonna reach down into, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'd like to add it if that's okay.
Yeah.
Reach down into like a little like green and pink fanny pack that he has.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna pull out a pill bottle. He's gonna open it and he's gonna like shake a couple of these different colored like capsules out and then close it and then just down a couple of them and then drop it back in his fanny pack. Zip it up.
Chandler, really is now the time for that?
I gotta keep regular, bro. I gotta keep regular. It's important. Yeah, trust me. I'm a doctor, man. I know what I'm doing.
So, Chad, you do have an item on your person simply entitled drugs.
I do.
This is a 2 quality item. It is small in size, and it has well, 3 remaining durability boxes before it gets to the damaged box. If you would like to... I meant to remind you guys to have these sheets on reference, but I will make a note on my end that you have used 1 supply of your drugs, and that supply will keep you going for as long as it seems narratively appropriate. I'm not going to worry about counting down, minutes, hours,
Sure.
stuff like that. But I'm going to mark a notch off the durability of your drugs here, so you are eventually going to run out.
Don't like that.
I'm sure that is fine too.
Yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine. Everything's
Since we're talking about items here, I will also say you are all free to suggest items that you might have. Items that you may keep in the car, Roman items you may have packed for your vacation. If I think they make sense, I will make an item card for you. Chad, you do have a supply of Axe body spray on you. Actually, I don't know if Axe was around in 97.
I don't know either. Some kind of body spray.
Yeah,
There's
some kind of horrid,
You can call it
brand new.
hatchet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brand new hatchet body spray. And of course, Laura, I would assume that you've brought your ice skates.
Ice skates?
Are you not a skater?
A dance.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I could be
because if
misremembering.
We're not going. If we're going skiing, Laura is not skiing. That's a good way to fuck up your leg.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. She skates from time to time, but you will not catch her in skis.
All right.
So we've got ice skates, and she's got she's got purse junk,
Mhm.
including her little pen and notebook,
Okay.
and also just purse junk like
Mhm.
chapstick and tampon and quarters.
All right.
Purse junk.
Yeah, for now, we'll consider purse junk to be a passive item. We don't need to worry
Yeah.
about that. If during the course of events you decide you have purse junk that will become relevant, we might turn it into an active item that we track durability for, and we'll determine that later.
Yeah.
But again, feel free to add things to the narrative, guys. I'm always there for it. Whether it be items that you think you would reasonably have, things in the environment that you might see that I might not have pointed out, collaborative storytelling. We will tell the world and the story together. Cool.
Speaking of that, Jack, I
Yes.
think I have a name. I think the name of the company is Arcadia Incorporated.
Arcadia Incorporated.
Love it.
All right. And that's a tree with winding vines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Arcadia Incorporated. Perfect. Do you have like an Arcadia Incorporated bumper sticker or anything? Or do you
No,
not?
that would be so tacky.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin a 911 with that sort of shit. All right.
No.
Cool. Just some logos here or there. But yeah, if you guys ever come up with an item that you think you would have, just let me know. All right. So, moving further into town, let me ask, are you bothering to push the car any further, or do you want to stop that exhausted task and just look around and see if there's any place to take it? Or wherever you are
Roman
going.
would say to leave the car.
I
Roman
would like
just...
to push the car out of visual radius of the strange man.
Yes,
You don't want
Roman
to
would agree
get your
with that.
tires stolen and shit.
I don't trust the strange man with the car. I would like to push it somewhere away from him before leaving it.
That is an excellent idea, Laura.
I love that idea. Go ahead.
Jess says as he folds his arms.
Fine. Are you
uh,
going to help, or are we leaving your car here? Then she
She had elbow at Roman when she says
starts
that.
pushing.
Chandler, please. You know I am not built for doing this.
Oh, I got you, man. Don't worry about it. You got the chicken arms, but you got the brain. That's what counts, right? He almost goes to sort of mess your hair up, and he stops himself, And he goes
Yeah, Roman just looks at you and gets as close to glaring as he ever does, and then just smooths his hair back.
I'm gonna go push the car.
All right. So because Chad does eventually give in to his virtue of community and goes to help Laura. I'm not going to make Laura make a check to push this car. You continue pushing this car up the street. You don't need to go too terribly far. I mean, it's a relatively flat road, so you're not really going to get out of his line of sight unless you're trying to bother taking it down a side street. But you can get, a few houses, few businesses down just so it's not right in front of him. Unless you really want to, go hide this car somewhere.
No, I think just pushing it down the street is probably fine.
Yeah, you could
getting some distance.
Push it down the street. You get down to that. You get down to the old record shop, down sort of in the middle of this road. There's a few parking slots just off the lanes. You can kind of park it in two different spaces at a slant. There's nobody here anyway. It doesn't matter, and leave your car broken down right there. As you get out and collect yourself. Roman, you just, take a look around, getting the lay of the land, trying to figure out if there's anything around, the state of this place, people you can talk to, maybe where this sheriff might be. And you look further down this road leading towards the steelworks. And several storefronts down, you see this flash of... Well, actually, let me have you describe for me. Roman has an ex. You've recently have broken up with in some level of spectacle. I believe we named her... Was it Jennifer?
Yep, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Jennifer Taylor.
Jennifer Taylor. What color hair did Jennifer have?
Jennifer had beautiful long red hair.
Okay. And we'll say she probably had some sort of nice fashionable long coat or pea coat or something in a bright color that you would recognize. Several storefronts up, you catch just a glimpse of somebody with this long, beautiful red hair blown in the wind and this flash of this bright, not terribly like Barbie pink, but this sort of light maroon coat that sort of wafts out into your vision as this person turns down a side street.
And the two of you see Roman staring off in that direction, and he pauses for long enough to start locking up the car, but is clearly hustling you both forward as he says, "Saw somebody walking down the street right that ways. Seems like somebody we might want to talk to."
Chad, go ahead and give me a frailty check.
Sure.
That is 3d6, and we're going to call that a medium difficulty check. I'm going to compare that to your frailty. This to see how your drug trip is going.
That is triple sixes.
Wow.
That is a critical success.
You're so good
Okay,
at drugs.
you're so good at drugs.
I'm so good at drugs.
Apparently.
So proud of you.
Of course, that's where I get the critical success, right?
Yep. Yep. All right. When you get a critical success, you restore 3 willpower, so you get 3 willpower.
Nice.
And you can discard a non-haunt suit card from your hand.
Ooh. I would like to get rid of my King of Spades.
All right, go ahead and drag that down into the discard pile.
Yep.
So we
Man.
have Roman sitting at 3 cards, Lion at 1, or I should say Chad at 1, and Laura at 2. Hand size, we've already talked about briefly. Hand size will determine, where in the reality of the Malice Locus they are. Right now, they're still on level 0, where it's mostly normal reality.
Chad got the perfect mix of uppers and downers, and we're just coasting right now. We're coasting. We have our peaks, levels out, we dip a little bit. It's good. Getting a little hungry though, but other than that.
Yeah, you feel good. You feel real good. A lot of that anxiety and questioning that you push down is, I don't want to say relieved, but masked. There is even though you got this perfectly, there's no detrimental effects, but there is just this weird blur in your vision for a split second. This little eye wobble that you're quite used to when you mix something, maybe take a little bit too much. This was perfect though. This wobble doesn't happen for very long. It may not even have actually happened. Maybe it's just something you were expecting, knowing that you just grabbed something out of frustration and boredom and concern. But you get this little bit of eye wobble, and in that eye wobble, for a split second, the blast furnace that is now at like a 55-degree angle, you get that little eye wobble, and for that split second, that blink of an eye, the blast furnace is standing straight up with black smoke pouring out of it. Your eye wobbles, and everything's normal.
I need to take like a run or something soon. I think the smoke from the engine fucked my head up, man.
Are you sure it wasn't the pills, Chandler?
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't the pills. Come on, bro. I've been doing that shit way too fast. Trust me, I'm almost a doctor, alright? I know what I'm doing, bro.
It is that almost part that I'm highlighting.
It's fine. It's just all the smoke gets up in my fucking brain, That's why it's important not to smoke. See? You know what I'm talking about.
So Roman, are you leading the group up to where you saw this movement?
I am, yes.
All right. You take a quick jaunt up the street here, past boarded up shops, disused buildings, homes. Past number 43. There's really nothing there. It's just as run down as anywhere else. And you get to this little turn. It's not even like a full side street that would have houses on it. It's just a space between buildings, a little alleyway that you turn down. You turn down, and it is dark. The walls are soot covered, dirt caked down at the bottom. It's dirty. There's some trash and weeds along the pavement here. It doesn't look like this place was recently disturbed. You look down. It's the middle of the day, so it's not particularly dark. You can see down to where this alleyway meets the back of another building, and it looks like there's a T-split there that goes in either direction. You bother continuing forward and looking down these paths, or you shrug off the curiosity?
Roman would take a few steps forward and at least start to call out and just say, "Hello? Anyone down here?"
You take a few steps forward, you call that out. The other two behind you, I'm sure, are giving each other questioning glances. You take a few more steps into the alleyway. And around that corner, that T-junction there, You see this muzzle, this snout of a dog peeks its head out, turns, and makes its way out into the alley. It is a nasty looking dog. It doesn't look malnourished, but it does not look friendly or groomed, and probably even house trained. And it crouches down on its front legs. Its shoulders stick out a little more than you think a healthy dog's would, but it doesn't look emaciated by any means, but it does look very angular. There is this intensity to the eyes as the dog crouches down and begins snarling. You can hear the growl, and there's a deepness to it that doesn't seem like you would associate it with a relatively small mutt. It's not like a tiny little thing. It's not a corgi or something, but it's probably like some sort of pit bull terrier mix sort of thing. It's a mutt. It has this patchy grayish brown fur that's all matted in places and sticking up. It looks like it has a few scars here or there. And it is not foaming at the mouth, but you can see the drool beginning to build up as it lowers down and snarls in your direction.
Roman backs up slowly and just says to the others, "Let's get out of here."
What's over there, bro?
Let's just all move slowly.
Matching your
and
step, as you take one step back, it takes a step forward and creeps forward. And then behind it, you see another dog stick its head out, sniff the air, look at you, and begin growling as well. You continue taking a step backwards slowly, and they match that slow advance to your slow retreat until you get to the front of the alley where you turned in where your friends are. What do you guys do? You can see them. Do you run? Do you try to intimidate them?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Fucking get it. Let's go.
I step between the dog and Rowan, and I am making a very large, confident body gestures. I'm locking eyes with it. I'm saying, "Hey, fuck off! Get! We got nothing for you. Get out of here."
All right.
Look, my lowest stat is cowardice. Laura's not afraid of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. That
Fuck
is
yeah.
true.
Listen, some of us have a 3 in cowardice, but we also pick and choose our battles.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 1 in cowardice and a 5 in impatience. So the dog is fucking off now, please.
Fair.
So go ahead and again, you can suggest an alternative, but I think you are trying to you're trying to intimidate this dog away. You know, buff yourself up, yell out loudly and competently. Go ahead and give me a repulsion check, which is pretty good because you have 2 dots in repulsion. You have to roll a 3 or higher. I am going to make this a hard difficulty, though, for reasons that may soon become known. That means you roll your 3d6, and you have to take the lowest number, and it has to be higher than the value we're comparing it to.
So now my question is, one of Laura's skills is expertise in performance. That is to say, whenever she is putting on a performance, a check is easy.
I will let you try to persuade me. It was my understanding that your performance was more in the sort of athletic dance variety. Do you have acting qualities? Are you a vocal performer at all?
Yeah, I think that dance is a physical performance, and I think that she is expressing her physicality in a very deliberate fashion right now.
Okay. Let me try to meet you halfway here, because
Yeah, okay.
you did say you were like 5 feet tall.
She's not very big.
You're not very big. You're
very
not particularly bulky. I mean, you can stand as straight as you want, put your arms out as wide as you want, and you're probably still smaller
also
than
not
Chad just standing there with his arms folded.
You can scare domestic dogs.
What's that?
You can scare domestic dogs.
Oh, certainly, yes. But these are not domestic dogs.
I know.
I'm going to say that I like the idea of performance there, and trying to use that, but there is extra shenanigans going on. So I'm going to meet you halfway, and we'll call it a medium difficulty.
Medium check. Let's roll higher than a 3 on a medium check. Hi.
I don't want to have to kick a dog.
Oh yeah, no, 544. I'm golden actually. Either way.
Okay. Yes, one of those 4s will apply. You step forward. You make yourself as big as your little 5-foot frame can. Stretch out your arms and bellow at these dogs to fuck off. And they pause. They pause.
This was against what, frailty?
Repulsion.
Yeah, that was her repulsion.
Oh, repulsion.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
They pause as you continue backing up. They don't advance, they don't stop. They do just stand there and snarl, but there's a hatred burning in their eyes. And you're not even really sure what that means, but you know it. Not even really sure why you're picking up on it, but you know it. There is malice in these dogs. There's hatred in these dogs. Hunger, perhaps. That could simply be the motivation of wild dogs. There is hatred in those eyes. But they pause long enough for the 3 of you to just sort of Homer Simpson your way out of view.
Fucking dogs.
Why were we chasing dogs?
We weren't chasing dogs, Chandler. We were... I thought I'd seen someone go down that alley, but clearly I must have been mistaken.
That's where it's the heat. Have you ever had any water? Maybe you're getting some heat stroke. You know, I got some water back at the car. We should go get you some water. I gotta get one of my meals anyway, and we're coming up on. It's time for 9 meals a day, bro. We gotta keep it going.
And it is hot here.
Yeah, I won't say no to a drink.
I won't either.
You continue to hear the snarling as you back up. You can make your way back down the street, keeping an eye behind you every now and then. You do turn around once you get a few hundred yards down the road, and you turn around and you see there's 3 dogs now just at the end of that alleyway that are looking out in your direction. But you can make your way back to the car, and this is actually a good time to for everybody to take a card, because it's been over an hour. In a game of Locus, every hour, every real world out at the table hour, you hand out a card, and that is to represent the stress that the cast is going through. The longer a scene takes, I imagine, that the more stressful the situation is. So even if we only get through a single conversation or a single fight in an hour, it's very stressful, and therefore you get a card. Or perhaps we're just doing roleplay, we're just walking around town like we are here. It's been a while in-game, they've done some things. So it's relatively low stress, but stressful enough given their circumstances. So I'm going to give everybody another card and see what it looks like. JD, you get an 8 of hearts.
We also have a
That's my
hydrate check.
virtue.
We do. All right.
Nice.
JD, you can discard that and give yourself 3 willpower.
Sweet.
All right. Yes, thank you much on the hydrate check there, Chiffin. All right, what else do we got? We got Lion. You got yourself a Queen of Clubs.
That's my virtue too.
That's also a virtue. You finally get some. I think you got some before. You get a.
I did.
No, you discarded. Yeah, you get some willpower there. There you go. So we can discard that.
So that should be up to 6, right? Because I had the willpower from the critical success.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
making sure.
And Cat got a 7 of spades, which
Virtue, baby.
yet again is another virtue card. So 3 more willpower for you.
Girls determined.
It's
All right.
exciting, but it's really not, because eventually it's gonna start getting real bad.
Yeah, you guys stack that willpower because it's gonna go quickly once I get your stress levels up. And you know what, Kat? I'm going to have you. I'm gonna have you sort of retrospectively roll me a stress check for coming down off of talking dogs away, because you did have to stand there as your 5-foot self and talk down 2, though it turned out to be 3 snarling, very angry dogs, which seems like a stressful situation, even though you did succeed at it. So that is a 3d6 roll, as they all are, with a medium difficulty, and we're going to call that against your cowardice, which should be super easy for you. You only have 1 dot there.
Sure.
You have to roll a 2 or higher.
Yeah, 6, 5, 2. So yeah.
All right, that 5 is a success. You do not get any more stressed out. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Car. Okay, so car trunk is the front of the car.
Yes.
It's a new car, so it has the things that are in a new car.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a donut. You have a jack.
Tire iron.
Yeah. To change
please.
the nuts on the tire. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make that a card. So you have a tire iron.
I would love that. Thank you.
So that is going to do bludgeoning damage.
Mm-hmm.
Tire iron. We're gonna call that a small item, at least for now. It shouldn't be too terribly difficult for you to stow on your person. You can easily, just shove it into a belt if you're wearing one. But otherwise not terribly difficult. This is a 911, a brand new car, a Porsche. They're pretty high quality cars, despite it breaking down here. I'm gonna say this is actually a quality 3 item.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because Roman's father paid a lot for this car.
Yes, he did.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give this 5 boxes of open durability before it gets damaged.
Nice.
Yes, that is...
Speaking of that, Jack,
Yes.
could I ask a question?
Sure. Always.
Could there be like a small emergency kit in the car as well?
Like a first aid kit? Or like a
Yeah.
wilderness survival kit?
Like a roadside
More-
emergency kit?
Like a roadside emergency kit.
Okay. Is that something you do think Roman would purposely pack?
Are you thinking the F word? Are you thinking? No. Anyway, is that something? Look, just chase this down. I want to see it. I want it.
I am curious now what you are thinking, Kat. But
Is it the F word?
I don't know what that would be.
Players? Is that what you're looking
That's
for?
the F word I was thinking.
There's just a backpack in the trunk that has a 2x4 with fuck written on it. It's the fuck off paddle.
100%.
Yeah, it's the fuck bat. Obviously.
I was
Doesn't have a
road
fuck bat.
flares. I wasn't imagining road flares, but my Laura instincts where she's like, okay, weapon time.
Yeah, no, but I was thinking flares, like band-aids, that
Okay.
granola bars, like that type of thing.
Maybe like a tarp for the car, like a tarp cover also.
For a 911, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the really high scale cars come with like the cover, the slip cover.
Roman, so you think you would purposely pack, a roadside bag?
I think so. And not like pack it, I think more, you can purchase it like the all-in-one.
Set it and forget it.
Sure.
And just kind of throw it in there. Probably never need it, but
Yeah, you have enough money to do that easily, and may have even, just stock with the car in that case, and you do have a middling ignorance, so I can think with everybody else pitching in a little bit, though nobody here is particularly clever. You have a basic roadside assistance bag. I'm gonna say it doesn't have like a flared gun or anything, but you have those little roadside, like you just stick on the ground, it shoots out red smoke. You have a few band-aids. It has like that real basic first aid kit with like some ibuprofen in it and some bandage and maybe little gauze. Yeah, we'll say you have that in there, and yeah, you could take the whole bag with you, but I'd imagine, I would call that a large item, since it would have a whole bunch of stuff in it. Or you could leave it at the car and come back for stuff later. But I will turn that into an item when we actually decide to use it. So right now it is just a roadside assistance bag, and we'll determine what exactly is in it as it comes up. But you have flares, you have basic first aid supplies. Maybe a can of like a small can of oil, like motor oil. Maybe a small jug of water and or coolant. Trying to think of what you put in a roadside bag, because I haven't had a car in a while.
Yeah.
The little tringles that you put on the ground.
Oh, yeah, the little reflective triangles, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you can have a couple of those, yeah.
I don't know if we would need those, but they're in there usually.
All right.
I got what I wanted.
Similarly, I have a question that will not probably serve any mechanical purpose, but narratively I think makes sense.
Yeah.
So like Chandler mentioned earlier, Chad is on a very strict 9 meals a day diet. So what I would like is if we could have a cooler in the trunk that's just like packed with ice.
Mm-hmm.
That just has a bunch of these like little like Tupperwares that's got like a palm-sized piece of chicken that he's cooked and some like rice or something. And there's just a bunch of them.
Did you pack for the
like,
entire vacation, or just like the road trip?
No, for the trip. When we got there, he was gonna figure it out, but no, definitely just for the trip.
Okay,
and
so
a couple extras because he's constantly trying to get Roman to jump on board the same diet.
So you have a dozen or so of these packed lunches or whatnot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, you can go up to the front boot, open that up, open up the cooler, and all the ice inside of it is melted. It is water in there.
Oh fuck, man.
Just like Chad like the boot gets open, Chad reaches for food, Laura reaches for a weapon. It's like...
He just like picks up one of the Tupperwares and it's kind of like dripping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hope, and like obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna hope that they're water tight.
Yeah,
but...
it's Tupperware.
Yeah. But he just like holds one up and it's just like dripping, and he's hang on. No, he is not careful to hold it over the like cooler. So there is a little bit of this like melted ice cooler water dripping onto the like front trunk of the car.
Chandler, the upholstery.
Oh fuck, sorry bro. And he pulls it right away from as fast as he can. My bad, man. My bad. We'll get that cleaned up. It's no big deal. It's fine. It's fine. We need to find some fucking ice, bro.
We need to find a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I will say you do have a plethora of food that will not last if you don't find a way to preserve it better than it is now. Because apparently, even though it hasn't been that long since the car broke down, the air conditioning shut off, and it's a fairly nice cooler, it is completely melted in there. And the water isn't even all that cold. Like, you dip a finger in it, and it's cool, but it's not like ice water.
And rice is one of those don't foods. Like,
Can I take a moment and say that I think this is a situation that would, for Chad specifically, either be worth drawing another card or making some kind of stress check, because I think that specifically is the moment that will like hit him in the fucking head.
Okay. Yeah, because you've stuck this diet for years now, right? This
Yep.
is a lifestyle for you, and this is actively, going against your lifestyle. So I will say you will have to roll a stress test, but I'm also going to give you a card,
Okay, cool.
which could
Yeah,
be
'cause,
good or
like-
bad. Let's see.
Yeah, because like the card breaking down might have done it if not for the fact that it was easy for him to laugh off, and dealing with the old man was kind of a pain in the ass, and then, but all of this just kind of culminates here.
And because the dice tell the story so well, you drew a 9 of hearts, which is your haunt suit.
That's amazing.
So
That
it's
is
going
my
to be
haunt,
difficult to
yes.
get rid of.
That's fantastic. I also got 225.
225 on a medium difficulty stress test against,
Yeah.
what are we gonna say here? Are you more afraid of running out of food, or are you, does this make you angry
No,
with
I
your
think this
temper?
makes me angry. Yeah, I think it's more anger than fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 4 dots in temper. You would need to roll a 5 or higher on your middle value dice. You did not.
I did not.
So you
no.
fail that stress test, and you go from uneasy to tense.
And I think what happens then is after a moment, so like he's holding it out and now it's like dripping onto the street. And then after a moment, he just kind of like takes it and he flings it at whatever the closest like solid, like at the wall of one of the houses or something. And he's just like, fuck, man!
Smashes against the side of this soot-stained brick wall that used to be the record store. There's a puff of that soot as the Tupperware cracks open and rice spills out. This chicken thigh splats to the ground and rolls just a bit.
Fucking bullshit, bro.
Chandler, I know you're angry, but right now we probably don't want food near the car when there are wild dogs not too far away.
You look up the street and those 3 dogs are slowly creeping forward
yeah, fucking try it.
at this
Man,
point.
fuck those dogs.
Genuinely, fucking try it right now, okay? Sorry, gentlemen. What were you saying?
Perhaps we should lock up the car and go elsewhere. Maybe to House 43.
Maybe out of this fucking shithole.
Well, that
Fuck
would be
this
preferable,
place.
Chandler, but we do not have a way out.
Yeah, I know. Bullshit.
Not without walking for quite a few miles.
I'll do it.
Quite a few. It could, I mean, except for Roman, at least 2 of you are fairly athletic. I mean, you'd probably have to clear a good 30 miles or so, but people used to walk that distance all the time. At least that's what your history professors say, but who knows what those guys are all about.
All right.
They don't know what they're talking
So what exactly is our plan? Get indoors, look for somebody?
I think right now it would be good to put something solid between us and those dogs until they lose interest.
Way ahead of you. And she kind of puts the tire iron up on her shoulder.
All right. So you are not going to wander through the streets looking for people. You're going to try to hole up in House 43, 43 Main
Yes.
Street,
about.
Joelston, West Virginia.
Why
All right.
not?
Chad,
All right.
The food's fine for now. We should probably eat. Well, it's still good.
Yeah.
No?
He's gonna like take as many of them as he can fit in his arms.
Sure.
Yeah.
Seeing that you have a 9-meal-a-day diet, and you probably intake more calories than most people just because you're active. But that's still a lot of smaller meals. So,
Mhm.
yeah, you'd probably take a bunch with you. So even if they're not going to last, you can at least, just pig out if you or your friends really want to. But you can stack a bunch of those together. Laura's got the tire iron. Roman's got the little emergency bag, and you guys make your way down the street again with these dogs keeping their distance but continuing to move at least in your direction a bit. They could be interested in the food that was smashed against the wall. They could have put two and two together somehow. You don't know how intelligent dogs are that you are now carrying food. Or they might be following you. But you don't have to go entirely in their direction. You do have to go in their direction a bit to get to House 43. But you'd imagine you get there before them unless they decide to charge. Okay. So you can slowly make your way forward.
Keeping my eye on them.
All right, Laura keeping an eye out, tire iron at the ready.
Chad is pouting.
And the dogs do keep their... Yes.
Actually, I'm sorry. As we go to, leave the car again, Chad is going to look over at Roman and be like, hey, bro, can you grab my cassette, please?
Really?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, you just want to sit in an empty house and do fuck all? It'd be nice to have something to listen to, at least.
What are we going to listen to it on?
I mean, I have a Walkman.
Yes, Chandler, I will grab your cassette tape.
Thanks, bro.
Okay. Laura, you continue forward while the bros take a second to step back and grab this cassette. So they're a little bit a ways from you. I'm not stretching you out too much, but they're a little bit a ways from you. So you're gonna you roll your eyes. Yep. Music is the problem right now.
These boys.
Yeah.
These
Priorities.
fucking boys.
Music is the solution.
Yes. Music makes the people come together. Madonna said that.
All right. I will also remind our wonderful audience.
Madonna's hot, bro.
I will also take this time to remind our wonderful audience about our mayhem meter and that these three dogs could really cause some mayhem if you wanted to, say, collectively amongst yourself, donate $50 in the next few minutes or so. Anyway, moving down along the street, Kat, you make it to 43. You can sort of push this old chain link half fence open, and the gate just falls off the hinges, and start making your way forward, keeping an eye on the dogs, unless you would purposely stay out to protect the bros.
Probably should.
Okay. You'll stay near the gate.
Probably should. I'm staying near the gate. I'm, whenever possible, making eye contact with the dogs so that they are aware that they are being watched by me.
Okay. The bros make it up to the house. The dogs have gotten concerningly close at this point. They're not right up on you. They're still snarling, but not necessarily in a we're going to attack right this moment sense. But they do not seem friendly at all. They are still angry, hungry. There's hatred, there's fire in their eyes. And they're closer than you would like. But you all get to the front of the gate and start making your way forward. And the lead dog takes a few steps forward, sort of sniffs in the air, growls loudly, and then opens its muzzle as if to bark, and instead you hear this blast come out of it. This a blast that I don't think our cast, our characters, would put any relation to, but this is a sound very similar to freshly poured hot pig iron flowing into the oxygen furnace. Is the sound that comes out of this dog's mouth instead of a ferocious bark.
Did you sneeze, bro?
It
Chandler, let's get inside.
Is that Chad's response to a rabid dog 20 feet away barking blast furnace.
Yeah, I think it is because I don't think he can recognize what else it could possibly have been.
Okay.
I don't think he's in a mindset where he's looking for, like, there's nothing going on here, so it's not like there's anything else that could have made this just weird, shocking noise.
You do have 4 dots of ignorance, so you're not particularly good.
No, he's
All
dumb.
right, yeah.
So here's a weird sounding noise that was abrupt. Maybe he sneezed. Maybe he needs to see a doctor.
Okay. The rest of you, how do you feel about this dog that just barked furnace explosion?
Pissed.
Concerned.
Okay. With this being the case, are you going to book it to the door, or are you going to continue slowly and carefully walking? And you know what? Let's go ahead and have, because I think this is a stressful situation. Even if it was just regular dogs encroaching on you. Yeah, I am going to say that even if this is not, because there are multiple ways that will trigger a stress roll. Let's go into some demo play real quick. There's multiple ways that would trigger a stress roll. One is a failed check, which I don't think we've actually had at this point.
I had a failed check.
You did have a failed check.
Yeah, but that was on a stress check.
That was on on a stress check.
Going up to 10s.
Yeah, it wasn't when you fail an outcome check, a check to do action.
Fair. Yeah.
You will have to roll a stress test. Anytime you take damage, you will roll a stress test. Other situations really determined by myself. It is a horror game, so anytime I think it is a particularly stressful situation, I may ask for a stress test. But in particular, seeing a monster. And I think at this point, these dogs, whether you would be afraid of regular rabid dogs, and again, we are regular-ass people. You are college students who aren't used to wandering rabid street dogs. But even then, wandering rabid street dogs don't have fire in their eyes and bark furnace explosions.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like all of you, upon seeing this monster, to make a stress test.
I run with frat boys. Feral dogs are an improvement.
And this is a medium check. So middle
What are we
value
rolling
dice.
against? Cowardice?
Yeah, this is going to be against cowardice.
Okay.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, you're
4, 5, 6.
surprisingly all pretty good at cowardice.
Yep, I rolled a 4, a 4, and a 6.
4, 4, and 6. Roman is good.
I rolled a 1, 3, 3.
All right, Chad is good, just barely creeping over with 3. And Laura,
4, 5, 6.
all good.
I'm fine.
Okay, you guys keep your cool, and you, I'm gonna say you don't creep forward towards the house because you're not pushing your stress levels, but this is a stressful situation. You're not booking it, but you're not creeping forward. You kind of fast walk mall style to the front door, get in there, quickly shut the door behind you. You're at least now inside. You hear another one of these blast furnace, oxygen furnace explosions outside, and a few more growls.
Fuck is that?
It's outside. Let's not worry about it, Chandler.
No, that shit's fucking weird.
We have no idea what mutations could have been caused after the fire, things like that.
So mutant fucking dogs? We're dealing with mutant fucking dogs. Man, fuck this entire town. Fuck it. Fuck it 1,000 times.
Roman, did you bring the map?
Roman pauses and then shakes his head and says, "That's still in the car."
Fuck.
Roman, because you willingly made your situation worse for yourself, and I love players doing that, I'm going to give you 1 willpower.
Thank you.
We find where the closest town is. We walk.
Yeah.
Preferably
yep,
we walk now.
yep. Fuck this place.
Maybe we eat first, so we have energy to walk.
Yeah. But then fuck this place.
Then fuck this place. If the dogs follow us, they regret it.
Yeah, fuck the dogs. And Chandler like, puts a hand up for a high five to Laura.
Absolutely.
Fuck it.
I mean, it was a while before we saw another town, or since we'd seen another town.
Oh, I know.
You both are incredibly athletic individuals. I am not, and I have some concerns about us being out along these winding roads once it's dark outside. Perhaps we should wait until tomorrow.
Look, bro. If it comes down to it, like, I can carry you like backpack style, right? But like, look, if you're really that worried, it's got you really concerned. I guess it's. I'm down to spend one night in this shithole if it'll make you feel better. But then we get to morning and we are getting the fuck out. Fuck this town. Fuck the old man. Fuck the dogs.
You
fuck
hear
that creepy
the
ass steel
scratching
mill.
of dog paws on the door just behind you.
Fuck! No, bro. Nope. Fuck that.
I walk over the door and I give it a sharp kick.
Okay.
Fucking try it!
There's
I
a
am not
low
in the mood.
growl, but the scratching stops.
Yeah, me too. I am not in the mood. Thank you.
Damn, they keep fucking with us. Maybe you can make the dogs into dinner. Shit.
Yeah, they look delicious.
We're not eating dogs, Chandler.
No, that was a joke. Don't eat the dogs. Those dogs
Yeah,
look
we
like
were
shit.
joking. We were joking.
Oh,
Brendan.
I'm aware.
We were both joking.
It's just not. You're not gonna get the protein you need. Oh, and he's gonna sort of start like push one of the little like Tupperwares towards Roman. Take it.
What is even in here, Chandler?
It's chicken and rice. Just take it. It's good.
How many containers of chicken and rice did you have in there?
Like, what did we say? Like a little over a dozen, right?
That
Like-
yeah.
Yeah, like 15.
Chandler, this is not a balanced diet. If it is just chicken and rice.
No, it's not. It's look. I was just making sure it was something that would make it through the trip until we got there. That's all. It was just easy.
Kat knows that rice is one of the like least trustworthy foods at room temperature, but
Yes.
I don't know if Laura does.
Mold and mildew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Kids, listen, kids, audience, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do
No.
it. Rice is not to be trusted.
Well,
so what is the plan here? You have dogs that may or may not be circling this old decrepit house. I imagine you're just in the foyer of this place at the moment. You have some supplies, and it sounds like your idea is to hunker down for the night, find a way out of town tomorrow.
Ugh. God, I hate that.
unfortunately.
Anything in particular that you guys want to do in this house before we skip to, I assume going to sleep?
I would like to look around.
All right.
Yeah. I think Chandler's gonna pull off one of the tops from the Tupperware and like just toss it on the floor, and then just start eating the chicken while they look around.
Okay. Roman, let's go ahead and have you give me... What would make sense here? Are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just taking in your surroundings?
I think just taking in my surroundings at this point.
Okay, okay. I'm not gonna make you roll for this. I don't think looking around the house at this moment would risk stress.
At this moment.
At this
yes,
moment.
I love that.
Yes. And you do quickly see that there's not much in here. Most of the windows have been boarded up. It is a two-story building, two-story home. It is row house style, so you have a shop to one side and another house to the other side. There's a very narrow staircase that goes up with just as narrow hallway that goes past it deeper into the house. You can move on into the kitchen. There's really not much there. There's a bowl on the table that has some sort of growth in it. Otherwise, the cabinets are mostly open. Some of the cabinets don't even have doors. There is water damage on the floor and the ceiling in a lot of these rooms. There is a funk to the carpet in the living room across the hall. You see, if you just want to go through drawers, there's just a few utensils left in there, and most of them are rusted. And just like kitchen forks, spoons, blunt like butter knives, all of which have various levels of rust and grime to them. There's no power to this place. You crack open the refrigerator and immediately shut it as this hellscape of a scent erupts from it. But unless you have anything in particular you're looking for or would like to add, you don't see anything particularly useful in here. But it looks like a more or less structurally sound house. There is one window on the second floor that has not been busted at this point. That looks like it was a small bedroom at some point, maybe an office, you're not sure. Other than that, there's not much here. It's musty. Yeah.
Is there a basement?
There is no basement, no.
Okay. Is there an attic?
There is a crawl space attic, where one of those cords that you have to pull down, a ladder folds out from it.
Okay. I don't need to investigate that, but good to know it's there.
All right. No need to investigate the dark, spooky crawl space attic.
No, it's fine.
No. All right. You keep that where it is. So, you guys want to hunker down for the evening?
Yeah.
Crack open some Tupperware? Keep an eye out?
Laura's
Alright.
like doing stretches. She's against the wall. She's like, and this is, I mean, partially she stretches regularly,
Mm-hmm.
but partially also because she's starting to get stressed out. She's one of those people who needs a physical outlet, so
Yeah.
she's pacing,
once-
she's stretching.
Yeah, once Chad finishes eating, he immediately just drops and is starting to do push-ups.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, for anyone who is going to eat any of the chicken, Chad is actually quite a talented cook. It's very good chicken.
This is. I just love Roman being in Jock House right now.
Yes. Roman is just ignoring as much of this as he can.
At one point, I think as he's doing push-ups, Chad looks over and is just like, Laura, get on my back. Get on my back. Yeah.
All right.
It's good. You know that Roman would not be the one to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roman,
Yes,
eat
Laura?
some of the chicken. It's fucking good.
Fuck yeah.
I will eat some of the chicken. Thank you, Chandler, and thank you for the recommendation, Laura.
It's not gonna be good for long, and you're gonna need it.
You need to bulk up anyway, bro.
I have no interest in bulking up, Chandler. We keep talking about this.
I'm telling you, bro. Think about it. Next level shit.
I don't need to be muscular for the work that I do.
No, but it helps.
How?
Wouldn't-
How does it help, Chandler?
Ooh,
Enlighten
wouldn't
me.
have to stay the night if you weren't worried about running out of energy, bro.
My caution about us getting stuck in darkness would be present whether or not I could run 50 miles.
It's a lot of running, bro. I think you gotta start small. You gotta start small. If 50 miles is the goal, like, I'm not gonna tell you can't do it, Roman. You can do whatever you set your mind to, but I don't think 50 miles is where you should be starting out. I'm just
That is
saying.
precisely my point, Chandler. Yes, we are on the same page.
Dope.
Let me ask, are you guys on the ground floor or the upper floor? Do you want to stay
Roman?
upstairs in that small room, keep an eye out through the window, or do you want to be on the ground floor in case you need to leave?
Where?
Chandler has
can I
no
find
dog in this race.
Not yet.
A place without carpet.
Well, there's the kitchen. Of course, that has water damage, so it's just as musty and gross.
Yeah.
There's the bathroom you consider until you walk inside and then walk out.
Yeah.
You could rip up a carpet. It's the 90s. There's carpet everywhere.
Yuck. Okay.
I would say the foyer has a nice, like, hardwood foyer,
Yeah,
if you want
okay.
to stay in the foyer, but it's like a 4-foot wide foyer with a staircase that goes up right in front of the door.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can move in front of the door?
Yeah. We'll say there's this real ratty looking old sofa that you can move in front of the door.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
After a little bit, Chad will get up, and without saying anything, it's just gonna start trying to like drag the sofa.
Okay. Yeah, I will say, no, this is a row house. There usually is more than one entrance and exit to a home, whether it's a back or a side door. There probably is another one of these alleyways that runs along the back. So we'll say that there is a back sort of alley access door as well that is off of the kitchen.
I think Chad's still gonna try and barricade that front door.
Okay.
With the logic just being it's less ways for them to get in.
Yeah. All right.
We'll know where they're coming from.
Yeah, so sofa's not particularly heavy. It's creaky. It smells terrible. It's super dusty, but you can easily move it in front of the door.
And Chad, as he like just dragging it, he's like, "It smells like what I imagine that old man's asshole smells like, bro."
Why would you put images like that in my mind, Chandler?
Well, if I gotta fucking have them, you gotta share them with me, man.
Why did you have to have them?
Shit. I don't fucking know.
Wow.
Perhaps that's something to meditate on, Chandler.
I don't know, bro. Meditating on some other guy's asshole sounds gay. And then he goes back to pushing.
All right. We'll say if you want to, there's this real old-ass creaky, probably would fall apart, but you could press it up against the door chair in the kitchen if you want to try to use that. Prop that up against the back door and barricade yourself in this home. And I think this is a good point, because it's been an hour again, to hand you guys some more cards.
Carbs.
So that is a King of Diamonds for our friend Roman here. That is a haunt card.
Yes, it is.
This is you're not entirely convinced that this is a safe place, or at least not
That
a
is fair.
safe situation. It's probably the best that you can get right now, but you're starting to freak out. You're at 4 cards at this point with a haunt card, so keep that in mind. Lion, we got you
Yeah.
a Queen of Hearts.
Oh no. That is
That's
also
another
my
home
heart.
card. All right. You're starting to freak out a little bit too. You are also already at stress level 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And Cat here, you got another 2 of diamonds,
Neutral.
which is a neutral card. So everybody is increasing in their stress. As I assume you guys all hunker down. Again, I don't know if we settled on anything. Upstairs, downstairs, split up, hunker together. Where are you guys sleeping for the night? Just to set the scene.
Probably downstairs.
All right.
Yeah.
That goes wherever they tell him to.
All right. Again, keeping in mind that you are regular-ass people in the late 90s and not heroic adventurers on the side of a road, is anybody bothering taking watch, or is everyone just gonna lay down somewhere and fall asleep?
Sleep.
Yup.
All right.
I don't know enough to think otherwise. I
Yeah.
feel like I wouldn't think of that.
All right.
I don't think Laura's freaked out enough to yet. Like, she does sleep in the foyer so that anything coming in will wake her up.
All right.
Does she sleep like on the couch, pushed up against the door?
Absolutely not. That thing is built.
All right. Well, I will say each of you do have 3 cards in your hand, which is not insignificant, and that does... well, each of you have 3 except for JD, who has 4. That's not insignificant. That is... I'm not going to spoil anything, but that is actually significant for some things on my end, which I will go into later. But I think we are going to take a break now that you guys are drifting off to sleep in this old decrepit house surrounded by blast furnace dogs. And we will see where we pick up after that. So, we're going to go take a quick break. It's going to be about 10 minutes or so. Everybody get up, stretch, do your human thing. If you would so be inclined, maybe head over to the Mayhem meter and drop some support for our cast here. If you would like to see some mayhem, we are prepped with dogs already nearby. They are not normal dogs. We could cause some real stressful situations and really kick off the horror in this game of Locus, despite Cat completely shooing away my first big, intense scene, which is great. Yeah, so if you can, check out the Mayhem meter. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Go up to your human stuff, but then get back here because we got more coming up. We'll see you in a break. Enjoy the continuation of some awesome tunes provided by Zach from Scheduled for Launch, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Hello, everybody. We are back for the continuation of episode 1 of Iron, Coke, and Conscience, a Locus story. This is the beginning of our horror mystery game of Locus, a personal psychological horror mystery game by Cobblepath Games. Fantastic. It is a horror game, so I hope you do not mind that we're taking this first episode to help establish the characters, who they are, what their vices and virtues are, how they work together, what their strengths and weaknesses and fears may be, and put up with just a little bit of a slow burn that is the beginning of a horror movie. I think we've seen a lot, we've seen a few instances here or there of things that are slowly creeping up. Our characters are getting even more stressed out, but when Locus really kicks off, it kicks off. And then it is going to be a stressful sprint to whatever conclusion these guys can manage over the next few weeks. So hang in there, and we're going to get to some action. And that action can be helped if you have the means and inclination to do so. By helping to support the cast with the Mayhem meter. There's a bar up over in that direction. If you are on the About Us section of Twitter, Twitch, all you will need to do is scroll down a little bit. There will be a big, bright, yellow Mayhem meter banner there that you can click on. Send a few bucks our way, whatever you can support if you would like to. And when that meter hits $50 increments, things are going to happen, and it's going to be great. So that's the best way to support, and it gets split evenly between this entire cast. It's my way of being able to pay these fantastic people for their time and their creativity and just being awesome people and helping me tell a great story.
You don't only get to help support us, but you get to make us suffer in the process. It's all pretty cool.
Yes.
That too.
Otherwise, go out and tell people that we're back and listen to these trash people get scared out of their wits, because I'm sure that's going to come.
We're good babies!
So with that, let's jump back into Iron, Coke, and Conscience. So you guys drift off to sleep. We are in this old, rundown, abandoned home. 43 Main Street, Joelston, West Virginia. You've barricaded the doors. There's not really windows down on this ground floor to look out of. And you cautiously and exhaustedly, because at least two of you had to push a car uphill for a quarter mile or more. It's hot out, hot and muggy, even in this house. And this house, providing sanctuary from the dogs on the street, is not providing any sanctuary from mustiness and mold and mildew and whatever other rot may be in this old forgotten home. But you lay your heads down, get comfortable best you can, and drift off to sleep. I will not pressure anymore, but for an example, if our mayhem meter were to tip over, this would be a great place for these possibly demonic dogs to find their way into the house in the middle of the night and cause some trouble. Just as a sneak peek of things that may happen if our mayhem meter turns over. But the situation has not become quite so hectic just yet. But throughout the night, I'm sure all of you, given the situation, are quite light sleepers. Every now and then you are woken up to a growl coming from just outside the door. Maybe some scratching along the walls. You can hear the sniffing just under the front door, because you did open a number of Tupperware containers of grilled chicken.
I tell the sniffing to go to hell.
If it wakes me up, I throw one of the Tupperware lids at the door.
All right. But for now, you go unaccosted by these dogs and get a full rest. Now, when we get a full rest, this will de-stress you guys. So if you are above uneasy, you will go down to uneasy. I believe that is only Chad here.
Yep.
So all of your stress goes back to uneasy. When your stress level returns to uneasy from any other condition, you gain 3 willpower.
Up to 9.
The other 2 of you, because you were already uneasy, you were not any more stressed, you do not gain additional willpower. But Chad here is a little bit more bolstered by surviving the night, and, we're gonna get through this. Now. Arrest, however, does not get rid of any of your cards. So we're still sitting at quite a decent hand size for Locus. For context, because this is a demo play, the hand size, collective hand size, average hand size of our group will determine what layer of the Malice Locus they are on. The further down they get, the more crazy things are, the more dangerous it is, the closer they are to the corrupting force that is the Malice Locus. In general, I believe the guideline is something like 3, 5, and 7 hand size for when you hop down to a lower level. So we are averaging a hand size of 3. So unbeknownst to our characters, they are slowly falling deeper and deeper into the Malice Locus, and they are now, or at least will wake up in layer 1, just beneath the surface of mostly normal reality in this bad place they find themselves in.
What?
Throughout the night, Laura.
Yeah.
You begin to dream, frustrated by your state of affairs. Frustration, anxiety, worry, anger. Never, at least in my own experience, never prepped me for pleasant sleep, pleasant dreams. So you drift off into dreamland, and feel free to jump in at any moment if you have something in particular, if your mind wanders in any particular direction. But you are reminded of some of the things you've had to do throughout your life to get where you are. Because you are an athlete, you are a performer, and you're good at what you do. But you're not the only one who's good at what you do. And everyone needs a leg up. When they can. Whether it's someone else's leg or not.
Mm-hmm.
And Laura, you're not above, by any means, doing what is necessary to encourage, facilitate other people looking bad.
No.
And when it helps you, you're not above some minor sabotage if you would even call it that. Just
If you'll
creating...
excuse the pun, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
It is.
And I think that's kind of where Laura's dream is started, is she's just having a straightforward anxiety dream about the dogs.
All right. How
But
would...
then, like,
let me prompt you. Let me prompt you, actually.
Yeah.
We can go with that scenario in a bit. But you're having this stress dream about the dogs, and in the absolutely most necessary situation, what would Laura do to these other two people in your group if Laura really needed to ensure she got away?
Well, she'd go for the knees. All Chad does is lift. His knees are shit. So she takes the tire iron, she shatters a patella. Chad's completely out of the picture. What's he gonna do? Throw things? Please. Roman, honestly, she wouldn't have to sabotage.
He couldn't keep up anyway.
Yeah.
Look at him.
She would just cease babysitting Roman, and he would cease existing.
All right.
Chad, she would have to kind of actively take steps, but she is a small woman and she runs with frat boys.
Mm-hmm.
She is a Batman. She knows what she needs to do to take down every single person who lives in that house, in case it becomes necessary.
So...
It's not the first time she's thought about shattering Chad's kneecap. Won't be the last.
So Laura drifts off to sleep, and the camera fades in from this darkness. We know it's a dream because it has that wobbly haziness to the sides there, and we see Laura in this home. The other two, Roman and Chad, sleeping on the ground, and you hear that bark of molten metal on clay, that blast that came out of these dogs' mouth. In the waking world, you know that this is a row house. The walls are connected to other buildings on either side, but you hear these barkings surrounding, these blasts surrounding this house. You hear scratching against the door. You hear thumping and scratching against the boarded up windows. And then, because it's a dream, it doesn't necessarily have to make sense. There are just dogs inside. Now, there are dogs inside the house coming at you from different rooms, snarling, crouched down, barking, salivating. And you look around, you look to the front door, there's a whole couch in front of it. You look to the back door, there's just a little kitchen chair there. Somehow these dogs got inside without getting past, or without having to get past either of these. You're not going to question that, it's a dream.
No.
But you know, there are too many dogs. There's more than the 3 you saw earlier, and there may even be more surrounding. But you know your best, at least in this situation, is to get out that back door and hope that the dogs will be content with these 2 other sources of food, amusement, play. So without even waking them up, you take your tire iron, you slam it against one of Chad's knees.
Yeah.
Chad erupts in a scream. Roman starts up, and you are already booking it, as you simply hear the growls and blast barks and screams. And you run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 'Cause I'm the best dog. Yeah, I think since this is dream logic, I think somewhere along the lines, while running, she's running on all fours. She is dog now.
Love it.
And some of the dogs start catching up, and she doesn't have a tire iron anymore. It's dream logic.
Mm-hmm.
And she turns around and just goes for the jugular and rips the throat out of one of these dogs.
All right.
And this
All
is
right.
her dog-eat-dog metaphor, because this is her just literally just eating this other dog.
Yeah.
And just being like, no, I am the biggest, meanest dog here.
All right.
I will win this.
For time's sake, I'm going to save everybody else's trauma for later. But in the morning, or what you equate to the morning, I don't think any of you are getting a full, pleasant, restful night's sleep. But in the morning, you are awakened to Laura waking herself up at the end of that dream, tearing at one of these dogs. You wake up to Laura sort of exclaiming, waking up in a start, sort of exclaiming this cry that is almost a bark herself. And the three of you are woken up. You don't immediately hear anything. It's dark, though everything is boarded up, but you don't see any light coming in through the cracks of the boards, or between the walls and the boards. So it's probably still fairly early. You feel like you've gotten some sleep, but not as much as you would like. Of course, this situation is not what you would like. But you wake up a little less stressed and not in any immediate danger just yet. It's still hot, though. Uncomfortably hot, not dangerously hot. You're not gonna, just get sunburned by walking outside or anything. There's actually quite a haze to the sky. You're not gonna dehydrate too terribly quickly, as long as you're not terribly active. It's uncomfortably hot, not dangerously hot, but unseasonably hot, especially for this area. And there is still that constant burnt smell, this smell of coal and iron in the air. But you all wake up in this strange house. You have to remind yourself where you are for a second, that everything is, I guess, okay. But how do we proceed on day 2, stuck in Joelston?
Oh, it's gonna be the last one. It's time for us to leave. That was our plan.
Alright. So you guys can gather up your things, head to the door, creak it open, make sure there's nothing outside. For now, it looks like those dogs have given up, gone about whatever they were doing. Make your way out of the house. You see the remnants of food that Chad smashed against the wall is now gone. The Tupperware container thoroughly chewed up. In fact, it's not even all there. And you see pieces taken out of it. You see teeth marks, but it also looks melted in places. You gather your things. It's still quite early, so it's not as hot, but still hotter than you think it should be, especially given the sun's not even all the way up. And you want to sling your pack over your back and walk out of town, I assume, leaving your car here to be towed later, wherever it is you wind up.
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. You gather your things, begin making your way down out of town. You see the old man, who is, despite the hour, still sitting in that rocking chair, slowly rocking back and forth, taking a puff on his pipe, and just like you entered, he watches you with this furrowed, old brow. Just stares at you.
This fucking guy just not fucking sleep?
As you walk out of
Listen,
town.
old people need to sleep less. I'm sure this is perfectly normal.
You begin walking down the hill, out of Joelston. Walk for 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes or so, an hour. It didn't take you this long to push the car all the way up here, and you were pushing a car. Should be at the highway by now. But it is fucking hot out, guys. It is hot. And it's getting hotter by the minute as the sun continues to rise. And the air is heavy, thick, not just with humidity. And it's the Appalachians in the summer, there's some humidity to it. But there's just this clawing gunk in the air. Not quite smoke. There is this haze. Fog, maybe, but not quite. Smoke wouldn't make sense. There's nothing burning. But there's just this thickness to the air, this smell of soot and iron, the smell of heat, excessive heat, the smell of carbon. And it seems with every step, it gets hotter and hotter. I've seen you've brought some water with you. You have a little bit of water with you. You had what was packed in the cooler. You can stop by the car before you head out and give everybody a couple water bottles, though they aren't cool by any means. They are, I mean, you could probably steep tea in them as they are. But you try to keep yourself hydrated, and you try to keep going, but it's hot. And maybe you're just tired. Maybe you were caught up in the excitement of everything going on and you didn't realize how far from the highway you actually were when you were pushing the car up. Maybe you lost track of time. But you've been walking for an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours at this point. And it's gotta be pushing triple digits, temperature-wise. And you're not making any progress. And if you're not even at the highway by now, and you know it was a good 30 miles or more to the next turnoff, this is going to be one grueling hike.
Jack, I hate to ask this, but would this be an occasion for Roman to make a frailty check?
I think so. I think this is an opportunity for everybody to make a frailty check. So I would like everyone to roll me 3d6. We're going to call this for now, we're going to call it a medium difficulty check. Against frailty. So, Roman, since you brought this up, what did you get?
Amazingly, if you had said this was hard, I would have been screwed. But I rolled 2 6s and a 2, so
Nice.
Okay.
that second 6 beats
That'll
my
do.
frailty of 4.
It does. What's everyone else got? Laura.
Bad. 311. Bad.
311.
Oh my goodness.
That is a failed outcome check.
Yeah.
So I now need you to roll a stress test.
Okay.
That is another 3d6. It is, by default, a medium check. And, you've already failed your frailty check, so you're going to be exhausted. But in what way does this mentally affect you? Are you starting to get aggravated and lose your temper? Are you starting to get worried and afraid that you're not going to make it? You're not going to get out of this town. You're going to be stuck here, or you're going to pass out on the side of the road. What are we comparing this to? Temper or cowardice?
Crap. Because the I want to roll good in me says cowardice. Because that is an easy roll.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think the smoke is really getting to Laura more than she expected it to.
Mm-hmm.
And this fucking place is going to drive her completely nuts.
It's like it won't let you leave.
Actually, I am gonna do cowardice though, because I think temper would be like if anybody had done a thing to aggravate me.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the lads are keeping to themselves. If either of the lads had dared to raise their voices upon me, that would be a different matter.
Unless Chad wants to fuck bro.
Helpful.
Oh no, Chad
make a
is
sting.
keeping spirits up the whole fucking way.
Okay.
Yeah, Chad is trying to keep spirits up.
Yeah, Laura, go ahead and roll your 3d6 medium difficulty check. You just need a 2 or higher.
Oh yeah, my medium is a 4.
All right, you're good. And
Yeah.
Chad, what do you got for your frailty check?
244. So
All right,
I
that
made it.
easily passes your
Yeah.
1 dot. Of
Yeah,
frailty.
I could walk for another 6 hours.
Yeah.
We're fine.
All right.
Or 50 miles.
Uh,
Fucking smoke.
So, The bros are doing all right, and by all right, I mean you are sweating bullets, and it's
Good. It
getting
puts a sheen on me, bro.
difficult
Gets
to.
it.
Yeah, I mean you look
Yeah.
good.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you think you look good. You should look good. You should look Herculean, with this sheen and ripples. And you look down, and despite you have this smear of soot on your body. You should be glistening. You are glistening, but you are also caked. Not caked, but there's a dusting of dirt, I guess. Bit dark for dirt.
Bro. I'm gonna have to see like 15 doctors after this shit.
And the two of you are keeping up just fine, but Laura is heaving, slowing down. She is a mess. She is sweating profusely. Her hair is matted above the hairline. The clothes are clinging to her, damp and uncomfortable. And you're starting to pull away from her. Laura is having a hard time keeping up.
I think Chad would probably notice that pretty quickly. I mean, Chad has probably been focused more on Roman, knowing that of the three of them, Roman is the least athletic and the least physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to, keep Roman distracted through conversation, just about, whatever. And I think just as he's like, bro, have you heard about this, like, subliminal messaging shit? It's unbelievable. That party last week hooked up with this chick just because of that. It was fire. And he stops and he looks back and he notices that Laura has kind of like fallen behind, and he's gonna just like cut back and be like,
and Roman's gonna follow, of course.
Laura, you good?
Fucking smoke.
You twist off the cap of your last water bottle and swig down the last gulp that you had.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. It's fucking. We should have been at the highway by now. Right?
I mean, do you think we somehow got turned around?
If we are lost, I am going to go completely apeshit. That is a promise. That is a solemn vow.
Just breathe, chill. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna figure this shit out.
I mean, we passed the old man, so we couldn't have gone in the wrong direction.
So we just gotta keep going. You good to keep going?
Yeah, we gotta.
You sure? We could take like 10, but it's not gonna get easier.
Yeah, I know. Only way out is through.
Listen, if you need backpack, I could use the extra workout anyway, bro.
If you need the extra workout, fine.
Let's do it.
Fine.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna backpack onto Chad.
Okay. All right. Chad would be the one to be able to handle it. Not that tiny little Laura is much of a burden. But in this circumstance, this could even try Chad's physicality. So you're gonna keep pushing through. Now Laura is out of water.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I was just gonna say I have a specialty in weightlifting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will come into play here if and or when I have to do a check regarding Laura.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So demo play wise, specialty skills are specialty skills are very specific applications of a singular skill related to a single attribute, and That makes any check associated with that skill, the attribute counts as a single dot. Correct? I believe that is specialty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, specialty is 1 dot.
Yeah. So for weightlifting, your frailty, even though it is already 1, would count as 1. But if you were to convince me that you are using some other attribute, we could talk about it, but
Yeah,
it probably
no,
is frailty. Mechanically,
Yeah.
it's kind of unnecessary, but I like that it's there.
Yeah.
I might give you some bonus for that.
It just made sense
Yeah.
for him, yeah.
So you guys want to keep pushing forward. All right. You continue pushing forward. We have Laura on Chad's back. At
I
this
think
point,
when Chad, I'm sorry, when Laura first gets on like Chad's back, it's a moment. So he's like crouching to let her get on because there's a height discrepancy. And when she's on, the first thing he does is that sort of like jump where he like tucks his knees up to his chest, so his like top half doesn't move. It's just the bottom half leaping, and he's just like, "Woo!
all right.
Let's go!"
Easy to do
Oh.
at this point in the day, at least. But despite the heat, you look up and the sun is just above the tree line now. It's not even all the way in the sky. You continue forward for another half hour or so. It's hot, getting hotter, getting harder to breathe. You can start to see this smog about. At first you think it's fog, especially with the darkness of the trees. There is, as I said, there is shade here, but that doesn't seem to be helping you all that much. You can just pick out the rays of the sun peeking through the branches here. But as you move forward and as the sun gets higher in the sky, you can see that this haze around you is not just fog, it is dark. It is soot. That's what's clinging to you. That's what's making it hard to breathe. Start coughing every now and then as these little particles tickle the back of your throat. I'm sure Chad is thinking, this can't be healthy.
Nope.
I would like everyone to make me yet another frailty check. This is going to be hard difficulty.
Oh. Hey. Bad.
I'm like the Energizer Bunny.
Alright. So that sounds like a fail from Laura.
Yeah.
Alright.
How you doing over there, little Lord Fauntleroy?
Not good.
Oh no!
What you got, Roman?
I
You
got
need a 5 or
failure.
higher.
Yep,
So-
I got a bunch of 3s.
Alright.
That's so funny. I also got a bunch of 3s.
But that is enough for Chad.
It's fine for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad, you are moving forward. You fought through exhaustion before. I mean, you have to. That's part of working out on a regular basis. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you do your full set, whether you have to push through it or not.
Yeah. Full set and a run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you are pushing through it. You are really having to push through it right now. Your entire body, especially your legs, are burning. Both inside and out from the heat and the lactic acid built up, especially now that you have Laura on your back. And you're focusing to yourself. Maybe you have a mantra or something that you're just internalizing. Do you have anything that just keeps you going?
Yes. The memory of being a sad, fat little child.
You
That's
hear
what keeps Chad going.
you hear whispered behind you, you think? Maybe it's just in your head. Maybe the heat is actually getting to you. Help him find his balls under all that disappointment.
And there's a clear like moment of Chad kind of like faltering.
And
He's gonna like look around.
that's when you look around and you realize you are paces ahead of Roman by meters at this point. And that's also when you realize that Laura, actually I need Laura and Roman to roll me stress checks now because they failed.
No. Don't leave Chad the only one able to make decisions.
Good.
Yep, I succeeded 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Got 1, 5, and 6, but that's fine by me.
Okay. So you do not get any more stressed, at least mechanically speaking. But Laura, you are out of water. You've probably had to ask one of the bros for some of their water already. And even though you aren't doing much, I mean, you still have to, apply some force to stay on Chad's back. You begin to get lightheaded and lean more and more of your weight on Chad's shoulders. And you are exhausted. Your mouth is full of cotton. It's hard to breathe. Your vision is getting blurry. And Chad, you realize as you're coming out of that faltering, that, at least for a brief bit, Laura passed out. She's not unconscious and completely incapacitated. She did that thing where she kind of, and the fall, the jerk of that kind of, wakes her up. But she passed out for a second there. And Roman is heaving and sweating and looks as bad, if not worse, as Laura when she had hop on.
Oh.
And Roman is now out of water. And you probably don't have much left because you're having to share now.
Oh, yeah. And Chad would share without even being asked. And there's nothing around us, right?
There's trees, smog, and the wavy distortions of heat coming off of the pavement.
Man. Roman, you holding up okay? And he kind of like shrugs his shoulder a bit to make sure that Laura doesn't.
Roman is looking, I mean, abjectly miserable in general. He had to sleep in his clothes last night. He doesn't do this, let alone sleep on the floor. And now his clothes are dripping with sweat, covered in soot. His perfect hair is messed up. And the edges are starting to unravel a bit. And he just looks at Chandler and says, "Do I look like I'm okay? Do I look like I'm holding up?"
No, you look like shit, bro.
Yeah, no shit, Chandler.
Oh, hey.
For hours.
Hey. Deep breath. It's gonna be alright, bro. We're gonna get through this.
We're lost. I solemnly swear that I will go completely apeshit. I swear on every ounce of blood that is in either of your bodies. I will go completely fucking apeshit if we're lost.
And Chad will like reach up and kind of like pat the side of her head and be like, "Yeah, I know.
You reach up. I imagine at this point you're kind of hunched, trying to provide as much support as possible so she doesn't fall off. And just because you're exhausted too, but you straighten up a bit and reach up and give Laura a quick pat, and you look up, and through the waviness you see a road sign for the highway, ways down.
Highway.
See, bro, you see that? We're right there. We got this. We just gotta keep going. It's right there."
What are
And
you
he's gonna,
pointing
like,
at, Chad?
He's gonna put a hand on Roman's shoulder and it's like, right there. See, we got this.
Yeah, what are you pointing at?
It's right.
No, it's not.
Chandler, I think you might have heat stroke.
I need... Chad, give me my iron, please. I gotta go ape shit.
As you're standing here, questioning what to do, questioning whether you actually saw a street sign, you hear this quick skip of metal on asphalt, this ting, 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 as quickly scattering, skipping past you is a near white hot small piece of metal that bounces a few times on the pavement before it rolls off to the side of the road, probably 100 or so feet down past you, and thin trail of smoke begins wafting up from the underbrush.
Okay, what the actual fuck?
And fire, where that smoke was coming from.
The fuck do we do, Roman?
And it grows.
We need to turn around.
But it doesn't catch to the trees on the outside. It doesn't spread further into the forest. It licks up onto the road. Crackles. Grows. Spreads across this short, winding country road covered by trees, like it's following a trail of oil that you sure is not there.
This isn't how nature works. The trees should be catching.
Fire's not moving any closer to you, but it is closer now. Thought that was good 100 yards down. No, that's like 20 feet away. It's hot.
We need to turn around now.
All right.
There
All right.
is an eruption coming from the road. Again, I'm not sure your characters would recognize it, but it's the eruption of, say, the intense electricity of an electric steel furnace igniting and sparking and blasting at the scrap metal inside of the cauldron. And sparks go flying. There is white fire and perhaps even something solid or semi-solid liquid inside of it that appears to burst from where that was.
What?
And I would like each of you
What's that?
to it's a lot closer than you initially thought it was. So I would like each of you to try to get the fuck away as quickly as possible and tell me how you're going about doing that.
Running fast.
You just want to hop off of Chad and sprint?
I have to hop off of Chad.
You should not hop off of Chad.
I should hop off Chad and run away.
All right, you hop off Chad and leg it, despite Chad's protestations.
Mm-hmm.
What's
I can run good.
What's everyone else doing? Everyone else just turning and sprinting?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Chad is purposefully the last one to run because he wants to make sure that he knows that they've got it first.
That's probably good because I have almost impossible rolls for all of my physical related stats, so we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, Chad's gonna have to make some saves here. I'm aware.
I can roll.
But I believe in you and your dice.
I'm gonna roll clumsiness.
Okay.
I think Laura's just trying to move as kind of quickly and efficiently as possible, and that's what she's best at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and
It does not help that your legs are noodles right now.
leg is nooble.
So this is going to be a hard check for you, and for Roman.
I would like to hold off on my check until after there's resolve. If that's okay, because it may affect what happens. But I can roll now also, and then if I need to roll now.
Oh.
We'll see what happens to them in case you want to
Okay.
forego your check willingly.
So
Yeah.
my clumsiness is a 1.
Yep.
Oh
and my
no.
lowest die is a 1.
All right.
So I think Laura starts to run and just fucking falls.
Yeah.
Like
You-
her legs
willpower-
are noodles, she's too weak.
You do
Oh,
have
yeah,
willpower. This
maybe
is-
I could do that.
Thank you, Lion. This is a
Yes.
good point to highlight willpower. Now, you can spend that willpower to re-roll dice, and the amount of dice you roll per one willpower is determined by your stress. Everybody should be at uneasy at this moment, so you have to spend one willpower, but that will allow you to re-roll up to all 3 of your dice.
I mean, if I spend one, I just need to re-roll the 1.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spend 1. I'm gonna re-roll. It came up a 4, so
All right, so you're good.
Yeah.
You leg it forward, and again, you feel yourself slipping. You feel like you're about to pass out. But you push forward. You push through it, and
Yeah.
you do trip. You don't fall, but you trip and you stumble, and you kind of deer just learning how to walk, sort of swivel and kick your own legs as you almost fall forward more than you are running, but you keep a forward momentum and you keep conscious.
yeah.
Roman.
So I got 2 4s and a 5. Means
Okay.
it does not beat it.
No, it does not. You do fail. Would you like to spend your willpower?
I'm not going to spend my willpower. The chances of me rolling high enough to beat this check are so astronomically low.
Okay. At this point, Chad, because you did specifically sort of hold your action to do this, though that's not really a game mechanic per se, you see Laura hops off and immediately starts falling forward, away at least. Roman there is, as he said, nature doesn't look this way, and he contemplated that for just a second too long. Like, this shouldn't be happening. This can't be happening. Why would a road explode? Why would fire? And boom, just as Roman begins to turn around, his back heel lifts off the ground as this eruption happens. This is probably gonna blast him forward, at least with a concussive force, if not any other damage, unless you have some creative way to help him out.
Can I try and, like, obviously I don't think I would have enough time to pull him out of the way, but could I try and maybe catch him before he hits the ground, so that even though I can't stop the impact of the explosion itself, maybe prevent any injuries or damage that would come to him, or harm that would come to him from the fall, and protect his head and whatnot?
Okay.
Like this
Okay.
little noggin.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a clumsiness check.
Okay.
Here.
Do that. Okay.
Your roll to get away, just yourself, was going to be medium because you were the one person that was not exhausted. You were in a better state of affairs. But because you held back, you did not run when you knew you needed to run to make sure that everybody else was safe. I'm going to make this a heart check.
I'd like to use some willpower to reroll
Okay.
some dice. I'm gonna spend 2 willpower to reroll my 2 ones.
All right. Well, what is you are only at uneasy, correct? As far as stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one willpower will allow you to
Right.
roll up to 3. So you only need to
Right.
spend 1
Yes.
willpower.
Okay. Good. Because that got me where I needed to go. So you said it's a hard now, right?
Yes. Your lowest
Okay.
result.
So that is a 3, and my clumsiness is a 2.
That is just what you needed to succeed in this check. All right. So you throw yourself at Roman, sort of getting behind him, but holding him up, sort of bear hugging from from the back as
I
you
got
push
you,
yourself
bro.
forward. And you're strong enough to keep him and yourself upright as this blast hits you. Not enough to do any damage to either of you, but you feel the heat and the intensity of the concussion behind you as you stagger forward. I will also say, because, Chad, you have a virtue of community, and you made things more difficult for yourself, not just from carrying Laura, but also purposely going out of your way to make sure that you took any damage or any risk of damage when Roman was clearly having some trouble. So that is acting in accordance with your virtue, which should allow you to discard a card. You can discard a non-haunt suit card when you act in accordance with your virtue, or act with accordance of your own virtue, or when you roll a critical success. Yeah, so you can discard a non-haunt suit card, neutral
I got
card.
exactly one.
Awesome. And it looks like you removed that from our digital table. Awesome. Right? Everything's up to date?
I'm about to now. I had to reconnect it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If it's not the like primary tab, sometimes
Yeah.
it has to like.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I did now.
You are all blasted forward. You move quick enough that you do not take any damage, but you are thrown forward. You might even stumble a bit, have to catch yourself, maybe roll a bit. But you come to, you stand up. You're right in front of the town again. You're right in front of Joelston. You look behind you. There's nothing there. No fire. No miles and miles of road that you've walked. There's the old man,
What the fuck?
rocking in his chair, looking straight at you. And with that, I am going to give all of you a card because it has been yet another hour. That is a 3 of Hearts for our Roman here, which is
That
a
is my
virtue card.
virtue.
You get to
Yes.
discard that. I'll discard that for you, and you get 3 willpower. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Beautiful.
That is a 10 of diamonds for our bro Chad here. That's a neutral card for you.
Yep.
And Laura's got herself a 2 of clubs. That is a
Uh-oh.
haunt card.
Uh-oh.
You do not like this experience. You do not like this mind fuckery that this whatever is going on here. You just walked all that damn way and now you're right back in town after something exploded? Or not? What the fuck's going on here?
Absolutely furious.
Old man sitting there, rocks on his chair, lifts his jug up without moving his eyes from your position, takes a swig, thumps it back down on his porch.
I just fucking walked past him. I am not in the mood to engage with this man, and I do not have the patience.
Roman looks at Chandler and says, I appreciate what you did for me, but you can let go of me now.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's gonna like let go. He takes a step back, and then he like brushes a little bit of like soot off of Roman's shoulder. Yeah. You good? I got you, bro. Yeah.
I know you do,
Yeah.
Chandler. I trust you.
Yeah.
You walk forward past this old man who continues to watch you as you go forward.
I don't care.
There's maybe even a little bit of a wispy chuckle under his breath.
I don't care. I'm not engaging with him.
You walk past, and did you put the cover over the Porsche?
Yes.
Okay. You walk back to the Porsche.
I think I'm engaging with him actually.
Okay. The rest of you
Not-
walk back to the Porsche. Unless we would like to hold Chad
Yeah, I was
back.
gonna say, if Chandler stopped walking, I stop walking.
Yeah,
Not. I am not engaging with the upsetting old man who said you had a pretty mouth. I'm going to the car.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
Chandler, as they walk by, is gonna look over and just be like, "What the fuck, bro?"
Oh my god, I don't care. I don't care.
Welcome to Joelston, my boy.
Yo, fuck Joelston, man.
Chandler, I'm sure he feels the same way.
Look at that smug bullshit look on his face, man. Fuck you, man.
It's the face of an old man relishing in the fact that these young rascals are having to deal with the conditions that he's had to grow accustomed to.
I think as Chandler turns away, shaking his head, he's gonna reach back down to his fanny pack, and he's gonna pop open his
Perfect.
container, and he's gonna pour out a couple more pills.
We saw the man. It's time
Yes,
for drugs.
he is.
Yep,
Yes, he is.
take him
I-
dry.
I was literally just
Stop.
going to ask if you
Uh-huh.
felt it was time for another dose.
Oh, it is
All right.
time for
When
another.
you see the man, you take a drugs.
I've marked
it's like
that
a
all.
fun little drinking game we play. You take audience, take a drink when you see the man.
Yep. All right, I have marked that all for you on our item sheet.
And then he like closes his eyes for a minute. He like puts his hand on his neck. And just, fuck.
All right. You walk back to the Porsche. At the very least, you'll want to open the boot up and get some more water bottles out. You couldn't take all of them, but I'm sure you have at least a couple more. You throw the tarp up just enough to uncover the front boot of the Porsche. You know this is your car. You know this is where you parked it. You know you were just here yesterday, this morning even. You throw that tarp up, and underneath you see the flaking bits of dark green paint that are still on there as you just see rust that has left pockmarks in at least the front boot of this car. It is rusty. The paint has chipped off and flaked. That rust moves down the boot, getting down underneath the chrome of the bumper. You look down and even the wheels are beginning to rust and pock. This is a brand new car. Looks like it's been sitting here for a decade.
I would like to make a temper check.
All right.
What difficulty are we thinking this is at?
If this is a stress check, which I assume it is, that is always medium difficulty, unless for some reason you would like to declare that it would be hard.
Okay. I failed it. That's fine.
Okay, your stress
I think that's
increases.
expected.
Yeah. You now go up to 10s. 1 willpower will now only buy you 2 dice to reroll.
And this loss of control over his temper, I think, shows as Roman takes into processes what has happened to his beloved car. And he steps back, and it looks like he's going to keep his composure. Like, he takes a deep breath. And then he just says, "When we get out of here, I am going to burn this town to the ground. Wipe it off the map. Wipe it out of existence. Destroy everything that is left. And then it will be fine."
And as Roman says this, I imagine Roman has walked forward a little bit, turned around to face the rest of his group and his now rusting car, and the camera is looking at Roman with Laura and Chad's back to the camera. And as Roman says this, black smoke begins billowing out from the steelworks behind you. Iron, coke, consciousness. That's where we're gonna wrap it. That's where we're gonna wrap it for today's session.
All right.
Incredible.
So
I didn't
good.
mash anyone. Yes.
You tried. You wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to.
Oh boy, did I want to.
I mean, you did in your dreams. You
That's true.
You,
Yeah.
you caused damage and destruction to others in your dream.
Yeah.
Oh, don't
and
worry.
as a thank you, the next day, Chad carried you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
This is true.
even though you smashed his knee in your dream.
And when you only saw one set of footprints. Wow.
So, bit of a slow burn here in the beginning, setting our characters, setting up the tension and the freakiness, but none of us can say now that shit is normal here in Joelston.
No.
No, it's icky.
There is something
We hate
going
it.
on here
You hate
that
it.
is hot and miserable. The air is hard to breathe. Everything seems to be rusting and falling apart. And despite your best efforts and endurance, you can't leave.
I thought you said West Virginia. Why are you describing Florida?
Florida is the entire state is one single Malus Locus.
Yes.
You are not
Clearly.
wrong.
Yeah.
Someone who lived there, you are not wrong.
Yeah. But before I say something too stupid, that is where we're going to wrap up for the day. I think this was a very interesting first episode of our demo play mini series. We will get to the much more interesting things. Don't worry, Kat, you will have plenty of things to hit with your crowbar later on. Whether or not they care that you hit them will be a different story. But there's still those furnace dogs wandering around somewhere, perhaps. Now that you realize you can't leave, you're going to have to figure out what to do. Maybe go talk to Sheriff, as the old man had pointed out before. We might get to that next week. And, of course, once everyone else turns around and sees this thick black smoke coming from what should be an abandoned steelworks facility, perhaps thinking back to the reaction that the old man had to the Arcadia Incorporated logo and the assertion that suits from the company have been here before. You're not going anywhere. We'll see next week if you decide to follow that up. For now, we're gonna wrap up. Let's do some quick after-show announcements. Have these people tell you where you can find them, and then we're gonna wrap and do an after-show and get to our insights on this first episode. If you would like to support the show and see those after-shows, see all of their wonderful insights, ask questions, make theories, whatever they may be, head over to our Ko-Fi. There's a number of different tiers just to help support. There's player side tiers at the adventurer tier. There's GM side insights at the hero tier, so you can get player sheets and character descriptions and whatnot. That way you can get all of my notes on the hero tier, monsters and whatnot, which I will be dropping as they become relevant or expended. And that's a great way to help support the show as a whole. That all goes towards getting awesome music, being able to pay people. Right now we're relying on a lot of volunteer work, which I am so incredibly grateful for all of the people who are just so enthusiastic for the things that I mention, that they willfully volunteer to do things for me. It's great. It's great as a content maker and a storyteller that somebody is that interested in what I'm doing. But goes towards, paying for art and music. I have an idea. I have an animated intro sequence and logo that I would love to make for RPGs Uncovered. But even more than that, a portion of anything that comes directly to the channel through Ko-Fi will go towards helping to support indie TTRPG creators by backing Kickstarters, by buying indie games. whatever I can do to help support the community and any of the small-time creators out there. Like Kat here, who happens to have a sale going on that she will tell you about during her outro. So go check out Ko-Fi if you can. There is always the Mayhem meter. I harped on it enough today, but that is the way that I am able to pay my cast. So if you do enjoy the show, if you enjoy all of the wonderful things that are coming out of these trash people mouths here, that is the best way to reward them for their for their time and creativity. I will say, because it's very important to point out when playing a game like this, when playing characters like this, that players are not their characters. These three beautiful, wonderful, creative people are some of the kindest people I've ever met. They are absolutely wonderful. They are not their characters whatsoever. I actively told them to make as trashy of people as they could, and because they are so creative and wonderful, they did that. So go support them. They are fantastic people. Let me throw it over to you guys now. Let's reverse as we do. So JD, you do some things every now and then, right?
I do occasional things, not that many things. Don't worry about it. But things I will is I'll be seeing you, Jack, and you, Lion, in just 2 days on Monday for SCP: A Crumbling Foundation with Telltale Studio. I'll be with Live from the Apocalypse Tuesday and Wednesday for class reunion and a wild card Wednesday game. I'll be with Lost Caravan on Thursday for Wander Home as a one-shot, and then Friday I will be GMing a Season of Secrets and Shadows, our Regency-flavored Monster Hearts game with Live from the Apocalypse, and then I'll be back here next Saturday. So a full week of games from me.
All right, excellent.
Almost down to one hand. It's not bad.
It's only because I did it in a 1 week chunk.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah. We're all keeping ourselves very busy because we have to. Speaking of which, Lion, what you got going on?
Oh, hi. Well, I'm Lion. I'm the creative director and founder for Tales from the Table Studios. And we have some stuff going on right now and some stuff that's not going on right now, but will be soon. You can find me on Mondays over at Tales from the Table Studios, where I am the storyteller, director, GM, overseer, whatever you would like to call it, for A Crumbling Foundation, an SCP-themed actual play starring Jack and JD, and they are amazing, and the story's been phenomenal, and things are about to go absolutely topsy-turvy, so please come check it out if you haven't yet. With that, we also are running on Fridays. Every other Friday, we have a series called Life on the Periphery, a TTRPG actual play set in the world of The Expanse, running parallel to Season 1. It's been absolutely phenomenal so far, and things are about to get also kind of flipped upside down as we just hit in our last episode one of the major plot points from Season 1. So things are getting pretty out there, and it's going to be great. We're temporarily on break from Rega, which is our Pathfinder 2nd Edition game, but we'll be back with that next month. We're also going to have at least one new series starting next month, which I can't give you the name of yet, but can say that it is coming and is going to be wonderful. And we've got a bunch more stuff planned to debut over the summer. And this coming Wednesday, since I'm going out of order anyway, this coming Wednesday we have a new episode of Roll for Perspective going up over on our YouTube, where I sat down with Paul from Ampersand Productions to discuss a number of different things, including Homebrew Havoc, getting a bunch of homebrew from the community and turning it into a campaign, what it's like to run live games in front of crowds, and his upcoming Kickstarter Descendium. I got that right. I'm very happy I did it. Yeah, all that and more. Feel free to check us out. We are Tales from the Table Studios on all social media and Twitch, except for on Twitter, where we are TFTT Studios, because it was too long. So that's what we do. Yeah, and you can keep up to date with all of the stuff that I'm doing and we're doing and everything else there, but also make sure you're back here next week, because I'm so excited to play more Chad and hopefully get you even more endeared to him before you find out what an absolute bastard he is.
Yeah, we haven't even delved all that deep into our characters' backstories yet.
Yeah.
But we'll handle that next week. Kat, you
What?
got stuff going on, and you have an
Whoa.
incredible deal for our
I
audience
do.
right now.
I have so so many, actually, because I'm putting together, some friends have donated some games to a bundle to help keep my sorry ass afloat because I have been unexpectedly too sick to work for a little bit. Oopsie doodles.
I feel that.
Yeah. We think the health thing is managed. It's just the money thing now. But anyway, I am the host king of the podcast Sword of Symphonies, where my good, cool friends playtest my game Heroic Chord. And I am the choir master of the podcast Roar to Heaven, where my other good, cool friends play a different game of mine and are punished for it. Both Heroic Chord and Blazing Hymn are now on sale, as well as all of my many single-player RPGs. The legendary group party game I Came Here to Win, where you and your friends play a season of reality TV. The recently award-winning To Swear on Your Honor, a solo TTRPG made for campaign play about devoted knighthood. And the Blazing Hymn Ultimate Collection, which includes not only my transparent anime fan game Blazing Hymn, in which you fight angels in music-powered mech suits, but also any supplements that I have ever created for it or ever will. And that's normally on for $50, but everything's on sale. Yeah.
Excellent.
Everything's on sale.
Yes. Go check that out. I dropped the... I will drop that right now. Actually,
Yeah.
here is the link for all of Kat's amazing games and whatnot. Go check out Peach Garden Games, all kinds of great stuff there. And if you want your own sneak peek of just one of her fantastic games, Heroic Chord, go check out Season 2 of RPGs Uncovered. It's a great story. It was beautiful. Fantastic cast.
It was still fun.
It was a great time, and we got, I think it was a great demo play miniseries, and I think we have at least one or two nice tutorials up there, but it's such a simple, easy to play game, though very robust and versatile and evocative. So I'm sure you'll love it. Go check it out. Very different from this.
Very different from
yes.
this. I got to play a good person. Marius was a good boy.
Yes, Marius was adorable.
And like the biggest difference between me and Laura is that I am not very temperamental. I actually am pretty laid back. So I'm having fun playing somebody with a hair trigger temper.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, we will see more of that next week. Until then, let's see. Quick announcements from myself. You can find me over on Monday on Tales from the Table Studio, as we've said twice already, playing Agent Hevered Heart. That'll be fun. That's in the SCP game A Crumbling Foundation, which we've already talked about. On Tuesday, you can find me over at twitch.tv/Studio Tembo for Star Trek Europa, where I play Captain Arani Ambrose and the possibly soon-to-be Chief Engineer Tong, even though he's just out of the Academy and one of the few Ferengian Starfleet. Very fun show, very Star Trek, very 90s era Star Trek, so if that's your thing, come check that out. It's a great show. This is the final season, and we are ramping up to some really cool stuff, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Other than that, I have a few Whip Workshop creator interviews coming up, a number that I am just now solidifying, so keep an eye out over on Twitter at RPGs Uncovered for some cool Whip Workshop stuff coming up. One that is already set up is on the 14th of June. I will be talking with Gavin of Witches of Midnight, which looks like a really interesting game. Sort of modern or near future setting. Very, at first glance, very Shadowrun, but without all the cyber side of things. It's just witch covens. So it looks like a fantastic game. I am really excited to talk about it. I got a number of other interviews in the works that I won't announce until they're actually physically written down in pen on my calendar, but keep an eye out on Twitter and on the Discord, which we have, and everybody is invited to, because we have a bunch of awesome creators and TTRPG enthusiasts on there. So come check out what we're doing throughout time. All right, that is where we are going to leave it for now. Check back next week. Head over to the Ko-Fi in a bit if you want the after show that we are just about to do. And as always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, keep having fun, and keep checking back here at RPGs Uncovered to help find you and your table your next favorite TTRPG. And until next week, should you ever find yourself stranded on the side of the road, perhaps in some abandoned creepy ghost town or not, it is always important to pack a cooler of fresh heart tomatoes because they stay fresh. Happy time zone, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Bye.